owned and operated since 1986. So protect your vehicle from rust today at your local Crown Rust Control Center or visit crown.com. Crown, Canada's #1 rust protection. On the hill today for the Twins, right-hander Chris Paddack, once a rookie phenom with the Padres. He has refound that form this season, maybe having the best season of his career. On the other side, Kevin Gausman has been strong for the Blue Jays lately, but the Twins have had his number recently. He tries to change that in Game 2 of the series today. We'll have lineup standings, first pitch on the other side. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, streaming at sportsnet.ca on the Sportsnet app and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Buck Martinez here to tell you about the huge Double XL free topping pizza from Pizza Pizza, just $19.99. That's a whopping 18-inch three-topping thing of beauty for only $19.99. So hurry into Pizza Pizza today and bring a big appetite for a hot and fresh Double XL pizza. I'm loving this big voice. I may just call the game this way.
Go to pizzapizza.ca.
This TSC Showstopper deal is like 2 stylish pillows for your feet. Save 30% on
What's up, Blue Jays fans? Thank you for hanging out with us today for the Toronto Blue Jays matchup. We are live every single Toronto Blue Jays game, and we appreciate the help that you bring to this community by liking and sharing this link out to your friends on Facebook, on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, whatever it is. However you share links, send text messages, whatever. It's all good. We really appreciate it, as well as we really appreciate those thumbs up. It really helps us grow this amazing Blue Jays community that we have here. And we've got to get after it for a playoff push. Our Blue Jays are starting to pull some things together here. Let's see if we can keep it going and take this run into some meaningful fall baseball. We'll see you back in the chat. Cheers, Insiders. Thanks for being here. Go Jays, go.
All season long on SiriusXM Channel 89 and the SiriusXM app.
Network.
First pitch to Barger is tanked out to right field and way out of here. First pitch ambush. Addison Barger and the Blue Jays cut the deficit to 1-1. Swing and a fly ball, shallow center, charging in Buxton. That's down for a base hit. In to score Clement. Right behind him, Jimenez. A 2-run bloop for Bo Bichette. He'll take it. A 1 pitch is jacked by Springer. Deep left field. Headed to the Blue Jay bullpen. That ball is gone. Solo shot George Springer, and the Blue Jays add to their lead. They're up 5-3, and the 2-strike pitch. Foul tip, strike 3. Jeff Hoffman punches out a trio and a big flex from the righty as the Blue Jays take the opener 6-4. Those were the sounds from last night's win. The Blue Jays coming back from a 3-0 deficit early to beat the Minnesota Twins 6-4. Alongside Chris LaRue, I'm Ben Schulman. Game 2 about to start with the Blue Jays at Target Field. And a big win yesterday for the Blue Jays. Chris, it only makes this game that much bigger as they try and take the series.
Yeah, this is a massive game, not only for the Jays, but the Twins as well. You have Kevin Gausman going up against Chris Paddack. Two pretty solid starters. Kevin Gausman wasn't great in his last start, but he's been very good over the last month or so. It's all about that split finger. If you can get out in front with that split finger, not push it, kind of make it look like a changeup, I think he's going to be okay today.
We'll see Paddack and Gausman coming up in a couple of minutes, but before we get there, let's go over to today's host. Here's Show Ali.
Thanks very much, guys. Welcome back inside Baseball Control, everyone. Show Ali with you at our downtown Toronto studios. We await first pitch between the Jays and Twins in Minneapolis. We'll get to the starting lineups and the Bet365 standings update in a sec. Before we do that, let's hear from a familiar voice. Here's John Schneider, the skipper, joining Blair and Barker for his weekly visit this week from the visiting manager's office at Target Field.
This team kind of looks a little more like Twins teams a couple of years ago, right? You know, there's more
like the Rays.
Rays. I mean, they're where you've got options. You've got options pretty much at any point in the game. You're right. Obviously, Bo and Vladdy, your everyday guys, are going to be your everyday guys. But John, I got to think the guy in the other dugout, if he knows you may put a lefty in for righty in the sixth inning, that's got to be in the back of his head when he starts getting guys up in the bullpen.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, that's what every manager and every coaching staff talks about before a series. You know exactly when they do make changes, where they do, what the game state is, all that kind of stuff. So it varies from game to game, but it is cool to see. It's not, you can't rely on one or two guys.
Mm-hmm.
You have to. I think that they said it very well. The sum of its parts is pretty damn good. And it's again something that we addressed in the offseason, something we talked about as a staff, with the front office, with the players, and it's nice to have options. It really is, and I think when you can try to gain an advantage as early as the fifth or sixth inning, knowing that you can probably flip that spot out again if it comes back around if you need to, it makes it easier for guys to A, be ready, and B, perform.
That's a snippet of John Schneider chatting with Blair and Barker. The guys will be on Blue Jays Central all series long, which means I'll be handling Jays Talk duties tonight alongside Nick Ashbourne. We will get to your calls and texts once this game is in the books. Before first pitch, however, let's get to that Bet365 standings update. At Bet365, you can bet on popular markets like hits, home runs, and total bases. Download the app and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. 19 plus, play responsibly. Ontario only. The Yankees are 39-23 entering play today. Both the Blue Jays and the Rays are 34-29 after last night. The Red Sox are 30-35, and the Orioles did not hang on last night against the A's. They are now 25-37. They have their 6-game winning streak snapped. The Blue Jays have actually been one of the hottest teams in baseball over the last 30 days, 18-7 in that stretch. The unfortunate thing is that the Yankees and Rays have also been two of the hottest teams in baseball. Yankees, the hottest team in baseball over the last month. Blue Jays number 3, and the Rays number 4. I believe the Cubs are number 2 and the Tigers number 5. So you kind of need some other teams in the American League to fall off a little bit if you want to see the Blue Jays get ahead. But the Blue Jays have been playing some great baseball lately. Before we get you over to Ben Schulman and Chris LaRue, who are standing by for the call of today's ball game, let's get to the starting lineups. Bo Bichette is batting leadoff for the Blue Jays today. He is at shortstop as usual. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is at first base batting second. Batting third is Addison Barger. You heard the home run earlier. He's in right field. It's a DH day for George Springer. He's batting cleanup. Batting fifth is Nathan Lucas. He is in left field. Ernie Clements at third. He is batting sixth. Batting seventh, Andres Jimenez at second base. Batting eighth is Jonathan Clase in center field. Tyler Heineman is catching, batting ninth. He is catching for Kevin Gausman, who starts for the Blue Jays. For the Twins, Trevor Larnach is in right field. He is batting leadoff. Ryan Jeffers, who got ejected yesterday, he's back in there today. He is catching. He's batting second. Carlos Correa is at shortstop, batting third. Batting fourth is Matt Wallner. He is DHing. Ty France is at first base, batting fifth. Royce Lewis is at third base, batting sixth. Batting seventh, Cody Clemens, son of Roger Clemens, batting seventh at second base. Willie Castro, utility man. Today he's at left field. He is batting eighth. And Harrison Bader is in center field, batting ninth. They are all in support of Chris Paddock, who starts for the Twins. All right, we are getting very close to first pitch at Target Field, so let's get you over to the guys who have the call of the game with today's action. Here are Ben Schulman and Chris LaRue.
Thank you very much, Joe. Blue Jays and Twins getting set for Game 2 of this series. We will see Chris Paddock take on Kevin Gausman. For the Blue Jays, it was a 3-0 hole yesterday within 2 innings, but they hit their way out of it and pitched very well in a bullpen day to make it a 6-4 win. That'll put a little more stress on the starter, Kevin Gausman, today, though, with some of the Blue Jays relievers unlikely to go, and they're going to face a fairly tough starter charging out onto the mound right now, Chris Paddock. Paddock, 6'5", 217 pounds, a 29-year-old born in Austin, Texas. This is his 4th year with the Minnesota Twins, although he had not been fully healthy for any of the previous 3. This season, he's 2-5 with a 3.5 ERA in 12 starts across 65 pitches. Since his breakout season as a rookie with the Padres. This has been the best year he's put together.
Yeah, but doesn't have overpowering stuff. If you look at his strikeout numbers, only 50 strikeouts in almost 66 innings. So that tells me that he's in the strike zone a lot. He gets a lot of ground balls, but he doesn't have that really overpowering stuff. He does have a good changeup, though. He throws that thing 24% of the time, a lot like Bailey Ober. Not as good of a changeup as Bailey Ober, but he still feels very, very comfortable throwing that pitch.
Mustache that's bordering on becoming a handlebar for Paddock. Long, dark brown hair out of the back of his cap. He warms up in the white jersey and pants for the Twins with the navy cap. Typical Twins uniform. Blue Jays will go in their powder blues today. An outfit they wore for a lot of the homestand, where they won 6 of the 7 games against the A's and the Phillies. We're about to get going in the first inning. It's brought to you by Armstrong Bird Food. Armstrong Bird Food, the reason birds fly north. Feeding Blue Jays since 1986. Visit ArmstrongBirdFood.com. Paddock's full mix is a four-seamer, a changeup, slider, curve, and really, really rarely a sinker. It will feature maybe once or twice today to a right-handed hitter. Blue Jays had a good offensive day yesterday, but maybe they'd like to get going a little bit quicker against Paddock than they did against Ober, who limited them to 1 walk and no hits in the first 3 innings. Paddock into the wind. His first pitch to the leadoff hitter, Bo Bichette, is sprayed foul. A middle fastball sent away into the seats. Strike 1. Time of the first pitch, 2:12 Eastern. Blue Jays in Minneapolis. Cloudy, about 20 degrees. The 0-1. On the outside edge for a strike. 2 good fastballs there to make it 0-2.
How about that? 2 straight fastballs to start this ball game. We saw Bailey Ober throw a first pitch changeup in yesterday's ball game to Bo Bichette.
Could see the change here. 0-2 is a changeup. It misses low. In some ways, they're similar pitchers. Paddock, a tall guy at 6'5", gets a lot of extension like Ober. He's got more on the fastball and a little less on the change. 1-2 is a fastball at 96, misses outside. You wouldn't see 96 from Bailey Ober, but you'd see a changeup that's probably a little bit more dangerous than Paddock's. Shakes off a sign. Paddock with the pant legs hiked up, stirrups on. 2-2. Swing and a ground ball right side, ranging toward the hole. The second baseman Clemens picks it up and throws over to first. 1 out. Chris Paddock, an 8th rounder by the Marlins in 2015 out of a Texas high school, was traded over to the Padres a year later at the 2016 deadline for a then 39-year-old Fernando Rodney. Now, I believe, of the Hamilton Cardinals of the Intercounty Baseball League. 1 out. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. takes a heater just below the knees. Ball 1.
Do we know if he actually showed up?
He's pitched. I know that for sure.
Wow,
I do know that for sure. Whether he's still on the roster, I apologize to the IBL fans. I'm not 100% sure. 1-0. Swing and a line drive down in right field. A base hit. Came right off the end of the bat for Vlad. Might have even broke it, but he has enough strength on it to get it over the dirt, just into the edge of the grass, and he's got a single with 1 out.
I think Vlad broke his bat on that slider. Not a bad pitch off the plate outside. But Vladimir Guerrero Jr. does a good job just shooting that hole on the right side.
Took the Blue Jays until 2 outs in the 3rd to get their first base runner yesterday, and it took them until the 4th to get their first runs. Addison Barger hitting now. He hit that 2-run homer in the 4th inning to open it up for Toronto. First pitch is a breaking ball that misses low. That was the 12-6 curve, and it's ball 1. Maybe a 1-7 instead of a 12-6, but it's pretty straight down for Chris Paddock. 1-0. Fastball fouled back, 1-1.
That's a good combination. That slow breaking ball below the strike zone, and then the four-seam fastball, the mid-90s fastball from Paddock at the top of the strike zone, almost on the hands of Addison Barger.
They don't want to let Barger get extended. He hit his 7th home run of the season yesterday. 1 on, 1 out, and the 1-1 pitch. Curveball low again.
Pretty good take from Addison Barger.
It is.
That's a tough pitch.
Don't know if this carries over to today, but yesterday, according to John Schneider, Barger was just looking for the ball up from Bailey Ober. Had basically cut the plate in half. 2-1. Swing and a looper near third foul territory, racing over the line. Lewis makes the catch on the soft liner, 2 down.
I think that's a pretty good approach. It's really a good approach against a changeup guy, a split finger guy. See the ball up. When you're leaving that dugout, I can almost guarantee that John Schneider is saying to almost all of his hitters, hey, see the ball up.
Easier to execute with a guy that throws 89, 90 and over than Paddock, but potentially the Blue Jays carry it over today. 2 outs, runner on first, and the pitch to George Springer. Fastball elevated, fouled back, 0-1. Paddock might have got away with one there. That was left over the heart of the plate.
Yeah, George Springer was all over that pitch.
Springer hit a home run yesterday himself, his 9th of the year. A solo shot in the 6th that stood as the game's winning run. A 1. Down and in with the heater. A little bit of arm side movement, even though that's a 4-seamer rather than a sinker. 1-1.
It's pretty good life on that fastball. 94 miles an hour. We've seen Paddock up to 96. He's averaging about 93.5 this season, so his velo is a tick up today.
Guerrero leads off first. 1-1. Swing and a miss. Best change so far. 85 and a hair below the strike zone. 1-2. Paddock in the final year of his 3-year extension he signed with the Twins a couple years back. It looks like Minnesota is finally seeing the fruits of that contract potentially. 1-2. High, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Good time to have a good year for Paddock.
It is. And it's not really his fault. Most of his Twins years have been sidelined by significant injury. He's a guy who, as a pro, not only with the Twins, but as a pro, has had multiple Tommy John surgeries. 2-2. Swing and a rope foul left side. Left that changeup a little bit up. And if it's a hair higher, Springer probably does a lot of damage. Instead, it's still a 2-2 count. Two outs, top of the first inning. Sun out at Target Field. Game 2 between the Blue Jays and Twins. No score as Guerrero takes his lead off first. He's got a single in this inning. 2-2 to George Springer. Hopped up foul back behind the plate into the seats, and they'll do it again. Already 6 pitches in this plate appearance.
Pretty good battle here between Paddock and Springer. Fouled off that tough fastball up and away, 96 miles an hour.
It's been all 4-seam change, 4-seam change. Wonder if he thinks about a breaking ball. Hasn't used his slider or curve yet. 2-2. Back to the fastball, and it's spoiled away again. They wanted to go up and in. It landed on the outer third. Paddock goes to the back of the mound, grabs the rosin bag for a second, and steps back onto the hill. He's thrown 18 pitches in this first inning. Peeks over his left shoulder at first. And another 2-2 pitch. In the dirt with the changeup, ball 3.
It's a good take. Looks like a fastball out of that right arm of Paddock. Same angle. Just drops below the strike zone. A pretty good take from George Springer.
Paddock shields his glove, looking in at Springer and the catcher Ryan Jeffers. Shields his face with the glove and now tucks the ball in there, set chest high. Covering Twins across his chest. Now he'll step off. Can be an imposing figure on that hill, Chris Paddock. Big guy, pretty fiery when things are going well. 3-2, Vladdy takes off, and the pitch outside, ball 4. Well-worked walk by George Springer, fouling off 3 different 2-strike pitches. A 9-pitch walk to make it first and second, 2 outs.
That was an easy take, a really comfortable take from George Springer. Just spit on that fastball just off the plate outside.
Springer talking with Mark Budzinski, the first base coach, and a little bit with Ty France, first baseman for the Twins. Springer on first, Guerrero on second. 2 outs, top of the first. Here's Nathan Lucas. First pitch, fastball, swing and a miss. Lucas a little behind 94, 0-1. Typically, Lucas has done most of his damage on non-fastballs this year. Wonder if he's sitting back on a change. The 0-1. Swing and a fly ball, left field. Headed back toward the corner is Castro, and that one goes foul into the seats. Only about 5 feet into foul territory, and maybe 5-10 feet from the wall as well. That ball could have got out if it was hit a little straighter.
That ball went way further than I thought it was, or thought it would. Nathan Lucas actually got the barrel to it, just missing a home run.
4 homers on the season for Nathan Lucas. He's batting .259, mid-700s on base plus slugging. Also has 3 doubles and 20 RBIs. 0-2 count, 2 outs with 2 men on in a scoreless top of the first. Paddock pitch. And it's lined left field, foul. Smoked another elevated fastball, but again, a little bit too far behind it, so it's still 0-2. Flags above left field, blowing out toward the left field corner today. Paddock sets, glove at his chest. Another 2-strike pitch. Swing and a high fly ball. Right field and deep. Larnach near the corner, and that ball is just foul. That easily had home run distance, but it missed the pole by a couple feet. Lucas has to take a tough walk back to the plate.
Well, you had mentioned that Nathan Lucas does most of his damage on non-fastballs. Paddock threw him 3 straight fastballs to start off the at-bat, then mixed in a down and in slider there. Nathan Lucas hammered it. I bet he goes back to the fastball here.
Still an 0-2 count. And the pitch. Down and away with the change.
Or the changeup.
By the way, Lucas hit that ball almost 400 feet, that foul ball, right down the right field line, 393 feet. He's hit a couple deep foul balls in this plate appearance. Paddock set, and the 1-2. Lined out toward left center, down for a base hit. Vladdy got a good jump. He's headed around third and in to score. Up to third goes Springer. RBI single Nathan Lucas, and the Blue Jays take a first inning lead, 1-0.
What a good approach. Another good approach from Nathan Lucas. That was a tough changeup down and away, well below the strike zone. I think Nathan Lucas actually broke his bat, but such a good job going the other way for a big RBI and a big Blue Jays lead here, 1-0 in the first inning.
If you're Chris Paddock, you probably can't believe he got a hit off that ball. Both hits in this inning have been pitches clearly out of the zone. First and third now, 2 outs after the RBI single by Lucas. And Ernie Clement comes up, another guy who can be a bad ball hitter in the best of times. From the stretch, the pitch. Low with a breaking ball. That was the tight slider in the dirt, ball 1.
The only reason why I say he probably shouldn't have thrown that pitch, at least not in that location, is because he threw 2 in a row.
Sure.
So it's easier for Nathan Lucas to expect that. He's already seen one of those exact same pitches on the previous pitch.
1-0. Swing and a bouncing ball up the middle, ranging to his left. Carlos Correa picks it up, underhand flip to second to end the inning. The Blue Jays on the board. They get 1 on 2 hits. First a single from Vlad, a walk by Springer, and then an RBI single by Nathan Lucas. 2 are left on base. Toronto leading 1-0. We'll see Kevin Gausman pitch in the bottom of the first next. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Be at the ballpark on Wednesday, June 18th for a picture-perfect evening of Blue Jays baseball. Arrive early to receive your Kevin Gausman t-shirt giveaway, presented by Ryobi, free to the first 15,000 fans. Find your seats at BlueJays.com.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate online at carsforkids.ca. That's cars with a K. Pickup is quick and easy. You'll benefit a child and get a maximum tax credit.
1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today, and your car can be gone tomorrow.
Every Friday home game is a City Connect Friday. And on this Friday, we shine. On June 20th, it's Pride Night presented by TD. The first 15,000 fans in attendance will receive a crossbody bag. City Connect Fridays. Night mode. Lights up. Let's go.
Breaking 6-5. Must be 19 or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connectsontario.ca.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Blue Jays win it 3-1
on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Kevin Gausman steps onto the hill, making his 13th start of the year. 1-0 Blue Jays. Welcome back to Blue Jays baseball. Bottom of the first starts with a fastball. Check swing by Trevor Larnach. Appeal down to third base, no swing. Ball 1. Welcome to the Timbermart broadcast booth. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. RBI single by Nathan Lucas in the top of the first gives Toronto an early lead. Now the 1-0 to Larnach. Left-handed hitter takes downstairs. Ball 2. Balls and strikes today being handled by Chad Whitson. Dan Merzel is at first. Charlie Ramos mans second base, and at third is Jordan Baker. 2-0. Fastball misses down and away. Ball 3. For Gausman, he's 5-4 on the season with a 3.82 ERA in 12 starts. 34-year-old from Colorado, 6'2", 205 pounds. His 3-0. Fastball clips the outside corner, strike 1. Last start against the A's was not Gausman's best. 4 2/3, 8 hits, 3 earned runs, but he did punch out 7, walked 2. 3-1 pitch. Fastball down and in, ball 4. 5-pitch walk to start his day. Trevor Larnach down to first.
Hasn't quite found the command of that fastball yet. Maybe hasn't thrown that. Maybe hasn't found that arm slot, the release point, spraying that fastball all over the place. But he'll find it. Just mix in a split finger, maybe a slider. That'll get you out front.
Larnach leading off first. Ryan Jeffers, the catcher, to the plate. The pitch. Fastball line and caught at short by Bo Bichette. Reached toward the middle of the diamond and made the play. That could have been extra bases if not for a good catch up the middle. 1 down.
Well, I don't think Ryan Jeffers could have hit that ball any harder. Bo Bichette was playing in the perfect spot. An easy play for him. That's an important out right there in this first inning.
Huge for Kevin Gausman, who just has not had a great time pitching against the Twins in his career. This is his 14th start against Minnesota. His pitch to Carlos Correa. Slider, strike 1. Gausman in 13 previous starts against the Twins. 1-5, a 6.61 ERA in 65 1/3 innings pitched. That does not include the playoff start in 2023. 0-1. Popped foul back behind the plate, 0-2.
That's a good sequence. Slider to start him off on the outside part, and then just blows him up with that mid-90s fastball in on the hands. Carlos Correa is a big guy, loves to get those arms extended.
Twins love to have Correa back in the lineup. This is his first action since June 3rd. 0-2. Splitter bounced foul. Correa slipped in the reportedly tough batter's box in Sacramento. The dirt was pretty hard. You can imagine the hot sun contributing to that and experienced some back tightness, so he was out a couple days. Larnach on first, 1 out, 1-0 Toronto. Bottom of the first, pitch to Correa. Splitter low. It has felt like at times over the last couple of years, the Twins have been less susceptible to the Gausman splitter than other teams. You see somewhat comfortable takes like that one from Carlos Correa. 1-2. Swing and a ground ball foul through the slider to the outside corner. Correa hooked it into the third base dugout fence.
I think the main reason, at least today anyways, because you see a Carlos Correa take like that, is that split finger started below the strike zone. We'll see obviously when the sample size gets a little bit bigger, but that specific split finger started below the strike zone. So for a guy like Carlos Correa, it's an easy take.
Another 1-2. Fastball inside at 96. 2 balls, 2 strikes. The Blue Jays have shot down the notion that they've had Gausman's pitches every time or something like that. They don't believe that that is always the case, and frankly, he's had some really strong outings against the Twins recently. 2-2. Line foul again. That was a splitter left at the bottom of the zone that Correa smoked. The good news for the Blue Jays is whatever the Twins might have been planning for or had on the Blue Jays, well, there's a good chance that hitting coach David Popkins has a good idea, considering he was with Minnesota last year and is now the Blue Jays' lead hitting coach. Gausman rocks and offers. And the pitch is hit on the ground to second. Picked up there by Jimenez. Flipped to Bichette, one over to first, double play. After the leadoff walk, Gausman gets the line out and the 4-6-3 ground ball double play to make it a scoreless bottom of the first. 1-0 Blue Jays after one. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming on the Sportsnet app and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
The NBA Finals are on Sirius XM.
Behind the board, knocks down an 8-foot jumper. SGA has come to play tonight, baby.
It's MVP Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and the Thunder.
This dude is the best player in the league right now.
And Tyrese Halliburton and the Pacers.
Halliburton unloads a three. Oh, that did not happen.
It's Game 2 tomorrow night at 8 Eastern on NBA Radio Channel 86. Hear the Pacers and Thunder announcers on Sirius XM and the Sirius XM app. Fantasy Sports Radio is helping you win your fantasy leagues right now on Channel 87.
Hey, you! Yeah, you! I'm talking to you! Thank you for hanging out with us today during the Toronto Blue Jays game and making a difference in our Toronto community. Every single view, just by being here, you're making a difference. And now that we've gotten your attention, please hit that subscribe button and help us grow this amazing community. We are over 100,000 subscribers here on YouTube, and I can't wait to take this plaque up to SickKids Hospital this summer. Possibly a Blue Jays game as well. Maybe even TFC, because that's what we do here, all the Toronto sports. So welcome to everybody that's new. Thank you for hitting that subscribe button right now. And thank you to everyone who has hit that subscribe button along the way and allowed us to get these awesome awards from YouTube and keep this Toronto sports community going. Now let's get back to the baseball. Go Jays, go! We'll see you back in the chat.
Are in Minneapolis, leading 1-0. Andres Jimenez leads off and swings at the first pitch. Popping it up just back a second, the shortstop, Carlos Correa, backpedaling on the shallow center field grass, makes the catch. One pitch, one out for Chris Paddock. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. Appreciate you tuning in today. Jonathan Clase will hit now for the Blue Jays. Tyler Heineman behind him. Everyone who can bat left except for Alan Rodin in the lineup for the Blue Jays today. First pitch is high, ball one. Really, probably the only way you get Rodin in is either you don't have Clase in, or you'd have to take Ernie Clement out. 1-0 pitch called a strike, 1-1. And I think taking Ernie Clement out right now is kind of a non-starter.
Royce Lewis is playing way in at third base, kind of expecting that bunt there.
1-1 pitch hit on the ground towards third. Lewis picks it up on the infield grass, throws over to first. Probably good he was playing in on the soft grounder. There's two down.
Another pretty good changeup from Paddock. This time just fades away below the strike zone. Jonathan Clase just hitting a weak ground ball to third base.
Paddock has gotten better and better so far as the year's gone on. This is start number 13. 2 outs top of the second, 1-0 Blue Jays, and Tyler Heineman up. Just batting .404 so far in 20 games. Heineman takes outside, ball one. For Paddock, though, you look at the beginning of his year, he gave up 9 earned in his first start against the White Sox. 1-0. Change up for a strike, 1-1. And then he gave up 3 earned in 4 innings in his second start to Houston. Since, he's pitched 10 times to a 2.17 ERA and a whip, walks and hits divided by innings pitched, under 1.
It seems kind of like a pattern for the Twins.
Yeah, especially
starters. Bailey Ober gave up 8 runs in his first game. Paddock gave up 9.
1-1. High, 2-1. Well, it kind of showcases what's been a very roller coaster year for the Twins. Not that different to the Blue Jays. Twins started the year 7-15. The 2-1. Swing and a fly ball. Right field and deep. Looking back. Larnach. It's gone. Second home run of the season and the third career for Tyler Heineman. 2-0 Blue Jays.
Well, Tyler Heineman pointing in at the Blue Jays dugout, waving out to that bullpen. He's having a great time out there. Why not? Hitting over 400, his second home run of the season. He hammered that mistake from Chris Paddock.
It was a middle four-seamer at 93, and a guy who entered this season with one home run in his entire career now has two this year. What a breakout it's been for the Blue Jays backup catcher.
I've seen enough. We got to sign him to an extension.
First pitch to Bo Bichette misses low. Ball 1. 2-0 Toronto. 2 outs, bases empty. Top of the second. He's keeping that jacket on for a little bit. He can put the equipment on in a minute. 1-0 pitch outside. 2-0.
Let's get that equipment over the jacket. How about that?
He'll look like a 1980s umpire. 2-0 pitch. Swing and a fly ball. Right center field. Moving back Bader and Larnach. Larnach, the right fielder, makes the catch just in front of the warning track to end the inning. Blue Jays double their advantage. A solo home run by Tyler Heineman makes it 2-0 Toronto. Middle of the second. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center. Streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Timber Mart is Canada's building center, a solid neighbor to call upon when you've got a job to do. Your dependable home improvement store that offers the added value of Air Miles reward miles with every purchase of $15 or more. For our participating location, visit timbermart.ca.
At Crown Rust Control, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Did you know spring's the best time of year to protect your vehicle from rust? For a special spring offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
Buck Martinez here to tell you about the huge Double XL free topping pizza from Pizza Pizza, just $19.99. That's a whopping 18-inch three-topping thing of beauty for only $19.99. So hurry into Pizza Pizza today and bring a big appetite for a hot and fresh Double XL pizza. I'm loving this big voice. I may just call the game this way.
Go to pizzapizza.ca.
Timber Mart always has plans to help you with your plans. Your home, your cottage, your garage, whatever needs your attention first, check the most visited spot on our website for ready-to-order plans to get the job done with Canada's Building Center. Visit timbermart.ca.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
In time! What a play, Bo Bichette!
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Blue Jays 2, Twins nothing as we go to the bottom of the second. Kevin Gausman will take on Matt Wallner, Ty France, and Royce Lewis in this inning. First pitch. Wallner, the left-handed hitter, takes a fastball on the outside edge. Strike one. By the way, you can vote Blue Jays and send your All-Stars to Atlanta. It's bluejays.com/vote to vote for the All-Star starters. A one pitch. Swing and a miss, middle, fastball, 0-2.
Let's get Tyler Heineman on that ballot.
You just got to write him in. If you want to write anyone in, because Kirk is their listed catcher, go to the bottom. But you can vote up to 5 times per day. If enough people start voting Tyler Heineman 5 times a day, anything can happen.
Let's not start that.
John Scott made an NHL All-Star game. Tyler Heineman can make it to Atlanta. Heineman's home run doubled the Blue Jay advantage, top of the second. Now in the bottom half, the 0-2 is a fastball fouled back into the netting behind home plate. A couple fans jump out of the way. Still 0-2.
First fastball of this at-bat was 91 miles an hour to Wallner. And that fastball there was 96 miles an hour. That's pretty much Kevin Gausman.
It's almost like a changeup, his 91. 0-2. Splitter hit on the ground towards first, picked up. Guerrero sprints toward the bag, beats Wallner there, and there's one out.
It's really tough to square up that split finger when he's locating that really good high-velocity fastball like he did to Wallner there. 96 at the top of the strike zone. Then he threw that really good split finger kind of near the bottom of that strike zone, and I'm pretty sure Wallner broke his bat. A really tough pitch.
Wallner down and Ty France up. Right-handed hitter, open stance. The pitch. Outside in low ball 1. France, the first baseman, hitting .272 this year. OPS a hair above 700. 10 doubles and 4 home runs. 1-0. Swinging a ground ball, hooked to shortstop. Bo Bichette picks it up, looks at the ball, tosses over to first. 2 down after a good slider from Kevin Gausman. That'll bring Royce Lewis up to the plate for the Twins. He often is a thorn in the side of the Toronto Blue Jays. You just have to look back to yesterday where he went 3 for 3 with a double, 2 singles, and a walk. Straight up stance for the right-handed hitter, slightly open. Gausman's pitch. Fastball at the knees, strike 1. Lewis, the first overall pick in 2017. Native of California. 0-1. Splitter hit on the ground, foul, 0-2. You go back to 2023 to the 2-homer game for Royce Lewis in the opener of the Wild Card Series. Both home runs came off of Kevin Gausman. Provided all 3 runs in the Twins' 3-1 win. 0-2. Splitter in the dirt. Lewis thought about it, but holds up. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Like we talked about yesterday, he's a good player, just can't stay healthy.
Yeah. A guy who has shown serious flashes of someone who could be a silver slugger. 1-2 pitch, called, strike 3, puts the splitter at the knees to freeze Lewis and end the inning. First strikeout of the day for Kevin Gausman. He's faced the minimum through 2 innings of work. 2-0 Blue Jays as we go to the 3rd. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming on the Sportsnet app and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Knock all your summer projects out of the park with Home Hardware, the official home improvement retailer of the Toronto Blue Jays and your DIY partner in making your dream home a reality. From gardens to garages, back decks to front doors, refreshes and renos, we're here to help you cover all your bases and make every summer project a home run. Visit any of our thousands.
What's up, baseball fans, Blue Jays fans from all over the world? Thank you for hanging out with us tonight for the Toronto Blue Jays game. Now's the time of the show for you to let us know where you're watching from in the chat. Let us know your city and province, city and state if you're in the USA, or let's see those international cities and flag emojis flying through the chat. As well as I want to see lots of Canadian flag chat. We are Canada's team. Toronto Blue Jays are Canada's team. Thank you for hanging out with us from all over the world. Please check out the link that is pinned in the chat as well as in our description. It's going to take you to our website. You can check out all of our cool merch, like our awesome 100K stuff and OG Insider stuff going away very soon. So get on it before it goes away. And let us know where you're watching from on our live viewers tab. There you'll see where everyone else is hanging out with us all season long, whether it's the Blue Jays or the Playoff Pulse campaign or anybody who's visited from all over the world. Thank you for hanging out with us this afternoon, this evening, this morning, the middle of the night, wherever it is, where you're watching from. Now let's get back to the baseball. Let's go, Blue Jays. Come on, boys. Let's make a playoff push. Cheers.
He singled and came around to score in the first. Next pitch is hit hard on the ground towards third. Picked up Royce Lewis. Takes his time, tosses over to first from the dirt. And there's one out. The third inning is brought to you by the local family-owned Crown Rust Control Centers in Elliott Lake and Sault Ste. Marie. Crown is proud to be Canadian-owned and operated since 1986. So protect your vehicle from rust today at your local Crown Rust Control Center or visit crown.com. Crown, Canada's #1 rust protection. Pitch to Addison Barger. Inside, ball 1. Bo Bichette recently described Addison Barger as fearless in the batter's box. 1-0. Curveball drops in, 1-1.
I would describe him as violent.
He has seemed to be able to marry his big swings with a consistent approach. 1-1. Swing and a grounder foul. First base side, 1-2. He still has the ability to take the big chances and unload on some pitches that are mistakes, but also fight off pitches on the outer half, take pitches close to the zone, becoming a really complete player over the last month. 1-2 in the dirt. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
It's a pretty good take right there. We heard him say earlier this year, maybe earlier this month, that the reason why he's doing so much better at the big league level is he's just swinging at better pitches. It's really that simple.
2-2. Swing and a rocket foul. Fastball on the inner half. The only place he could put that was into foul territory down the right field line. Still 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And you could tell Chris Paddock is just trying to crowd Addison Barger. He's thrown a few pitches inside off the plate. That one right there was off the plate inside. Addison Barger actually did get the barrel to it.
Paddock shakes off a sign, shakes off a second. Now he has what he wants. The 2-2. Changeup down and away. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
That thing's gross. Tons of movement on that changeup. Another good take from Addison Barger.
That was the pitch Barger lined out on back in his first at-bat in the first inning. 1 out, base is empty. 2-0 Toronto. And the 3-2. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Doubled off on the change and got Barger to chase it down and away. 2 down.
Well, that thing was going right down the middle. Such a tough pitch to pick up. Such a tough pitch to take, especially 3-2. You can tell Chris Paddock is very comfortable throwing that changeup, especially in a 3-2 count. A really good pitch.
First strikeout of the day for Chris Paddock, the right-hander. 2 outs, space is empty. George Springer is up. The pitch. Swing and a fly ball, center field, hanging up for Bader, shuffling to his left. Bader makes a 2-handed squeeze to end the inning. 1-2-3 frame for Chris Paddock, his first scoreless inning of the game. Keeps it 2-0 Blue Jays, middle of the third. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
The NBA Finals are here.
Everything Indiana does, Oklahoma City can say, we got one of those, and it's better.
Join the daily conversation on Sirius XM NBA Radio. Frank Isola and Brian Scalabrine tip it off on the starting lineup.
They have 0 weaknesses.
Then it's Rob Perez and Antonio Daniels on Give and Go.
Deserving conference champions on both sides.
And Justin Termini and Eddie Johnson get you ready for all the action on NBA Today.
They have too much talent.
Expert analysis and instant reaction throughout the NBA Finals is on NBA Radio Channel 86 and the Sirius XM app.
Every night after the final out, the Round Trip Roundup brings you the scores, highlights, and analysis from every game across Major League Baseball, all in less than 30 minutes.
Swung on and missed, strike 3 and a no-hitter.
It's the perfect way to get caught up on all the night's biggest home runs and best performances.
And a high drive, deep right center.
It's the Round Trip Roundup on MLB Network Radio every night on Sirius XM Channel 89 and every morning on the Sirius XM app.
Baseball is back. It's former General Manager Jim Duquette, and every Sunday on the front office, we have you covered on everything happening across Major League Baseball.
That's right, Duke. It's former Big League GM Jim Bowden. Injuries, extensions, promotions, demotions, and trades. We'll have you covered on all the news.
We'll bring you the front office perspective as the season heats up.
Front office with Jim Duquette and Jim Bowden, Sundays at 10 a.m. Eastern on MLB Network Radio, Channel 89, and on the Sirius XM app.
24/7, 365. Coverage of all things NASCAR.
All things NASCAR
Happens exclusively on Sirius XM NASCAR Radio, Channel 90.
Welcome to the Timbermart broadcast booth. Timbermart stores are family-owned and operated and know the value in giving back to the communities they serve. Now more than ever, it's important to shop local. Timbermart, locally owned, proudly Canadian. Kevin Gausman deals to Cody Clemens in the first pitch, foul tipped, 0-1. I'm Ben Schulman alongside former Major League reliever Chris LaRue. Joe Ali, our host, Nick Blackmore, our producer, Tom Young, our technical director, and the Blue Jays leading 2-0, bottom of the third. Right on left, the pitch to the son of Roger, Cody Clemens. Fouled back, fastball on the inner third, 0-2. Cody Clemens got off to a huge start in his Twins career. He was a big part of their 13-game win streak that turned them from a below 500 team into a playoff contending team at this point in the season. Things have slowed down a little bit, though, for Clemens recently. 0-2. Swing and a grounder hooked to first. Fielded right on the line by Guerrero, who gets up and races to the bag. 1 out.
Well, you had just mentioned how good the Twins have been recently. They're 17-9 in the last 30 days. Guess who's 18-9?
Toronto Blue Jays.
The Toronto Blue Jays are 18-9, third best in baseball over the last 30 days. How about that?
I believe the only teams better, the New York Yankees.
Yep.
Is it the Dodgers?
Nope, the Cubs.
Cubs. I knew it was a National League team. Cubs. It's been quite a run for the Blue Jays. It did not just start with that series against the A's. Really starts back at the series against the Padres. Pitch to Willie Castro is hit down the left field line, and that one is slicing foul into the seats. 0-1.
Do you want to know where the Dodgers are? Over that 30-day stretch?
5th?
15th.
Really?
13 and 14.
Really?
Those games are too late for you. You can't watch those games. So
I try. I just fall asleep in the 5th inning. Pitch to Castro again. Misses low. 1-1. Willie Castro, the left fielder today, switch hitter. That's from the left side against Gausman with 1 out and the bases empty. 2-0 Blue Jays, bottom of the third. 1-1. Splitter in the dirt. 2 balls, 1 strike. Where are the Colorado Rockies in the last? No, I know where the Colorado Rockies are. If they're not 30th, I would be surprised. 2-1 pitch. Called a strike, 2-2. Although they did get that Marlins sweep, so maybe they're hanging around the A's. But I'm guessing they're at the bottom.
It's a good time to be a Rockies fan. Well, over the last 4 days.
Oh, yeah sure. I was going to say, I don't know. But I hear the in-ballpark entertainment is pretty good. 2-2. Sliced away foul. Fastball at 96 on the outside edge. Willie Castro, a little bit limited by injury this year, but has mostly been there. Batting .255 with a .782 on base plus slugging. 6 home runs in 43 games. 2-2. Hit well down the left field line, but that one is going to go foul out of play again. It's now been a 6-pitch battle, Castro and Gausman. Gausman stretches out his arms, pulls on the brim of his cap, and now puts his hands together belt high. Bouncing the lead left foot, he comes still, kicks, and throws. Foul tip, strike 3. Got him on the splitter. Second strikeout of the day for Gausman, 2 down.
That's the one right there. Finally was able to get him with that really good split finger. That one was just enticing enough. Started in the strike zone, broke out of the strike zone, and a very hot Willie Castro swings over the top of it. I think that was a foul tip, actually. A good job from Tyler Heineman catching that baseball.
2 outs and Harrison Bader to the plate. 34 pitches in 8 batters faced for Gausman. Pitch to Bader. Up and in with a heater. Ball 1. I know you didn't catch at the professional level, but you caught up into college. Is there a skill to catching foul tips? Or is it just kind of luck?
Maybe having strong hands.
Okay.
I think that probably
grip
helps.
Strength.
Yeah, grip strength.
1-0 pitch is hit high in the air to right field. Ranging over to the line, Barger, and that one goes foul into the seats over a high wall, 1-1.
But I would say, generally speaking, it's probably just luck.
Right.
If it goes in the webbing, you should be able to squeeze the glove and catch that pitch. But I say, I don't know, probably just grip strength, which I had none of. That's why I wasn't a very good hitter.
So I was going to say, you had a pretty good catching reputation without the grip strength. 1-1. Fastball on the inside edge, 96 with some arm side movement, 1-2.
He's got a pretty good fastball today. Low end 90, 91 miles an hour, but when he wants to, he can gas that thing up to 96, 97.
Getting some pretty good run on it, too. 1-2 pitch. Check swing on the splitter. Low appeal down to first base, no swings is Dan Merzel. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
I think he's found something. He's found the release point of the fastball, and that makes the split finger release better. That one right there was a pretty good take from Harrison Bader.
2-2. Fastball fouled away. Harrison Bader, a guy having a pretty good year. 255 with a 766 on base plus slugging, 7 doubles, 6 homers, and 24 driven in. Bader's doing that as kind of rotational outfielder that might not play every single day. 2-2. Fastball called low. That's 97, might have had the zone. You could argue that's his best fastball today. Instead, it's full count.
Yeah, and Kevin Gausman wanted that pitch. John Schneider wanted that pitch. You could tell by the look on his face. That's a great pitch. Clipped the bottom of that strike zone.
Payoff pitch. Popped up near first base. Guerrero walks on to the infield. Grass puts a hand out to wave off Jimenez and makes the catch to end the inning. For 3 innings, Gausman has faced the minimum, and the Blue Jays lead 2-0 at Target Field. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming on the Sportsnet app and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
In April, Rory McIlroy completed the career Grand Slam.
Rory McIlroy, he's won the Masters.
Then, Scotty Scheffler won his 3rd major championship at Quail Hollow.
Scotty Scheffler is a PGA champion.
Next week, the best players in golf travel to Oakmont Country Club for our national championship.
That may be a U.S. Open winning shot.
U.S. Open Radio returns this Monday on Channel 92 in the car and on the Sirius XM app.
Fantasy Sports Radio is helping you win your fantasy leagues right now on Channel 87.
Say goodbye, home run Aaron Judge.
From in-season fantasy baseball management to helping you prepare for your fantasy football drafts, Fantasy Sports Radio is here to help you dominate.
Don't ever take a player that you don't intend to keep all year. Don't do it. It's terrible management.
Fantasy Sports Radio, your home for fantasy sports. Channel 87 and on the Sirius XM app.
The NASCAR Cup Series is on Sirius XM. We're back on the track Sunday.
1 p.m. Eastern.
It's the Firekeepers Casino 400
from Michigan International Speedway on Sirius XM NASCAR Radio Channel 90 and on the Sirius XM app. For up-to-date betting lines, fantasy plays, and the latest NASCAR news, catch the pre-race show before every Cup Series race. Plus, 2 hours of post-race coverage on Sirius XM NASCAR Radio Channel 90.
MLS, NWSL, the USL, and more covering the beautiful game here at home. American soccer lives on Sirius XM FC 157.
Sportsnet Radio Network.
The 4th inning is presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app for today's baseball odds and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. 19 plus, play responsibly. Ontario only. Alongside Chris LaRue, I'm Ben Schulman. Blue Jays 2, Twins nothing. Nathan Lucas hits for a second time after his RBI single in the first. The pitch. Slider for strike 1. Lucas entered this game batting .353 with 4 RBIs in the last 7 games. You can add an RBI to that total. 0-1 pitch hit on the ground left side and through the hole in between the shortstop Correa and the third baseman Lewis into left center. Another base hit for Lucas, who stays hot.
Well, there was a big hole on the left side of the infield. Carlos Correa was shaded towards second base. I don't know if Nathan Lucas tried to shoot that hole, but he's been really good at going the other way this season. So I want to say that he tried to shoot that hole on the left side.
I mean, he's had that base hit 10 times already this year, maybe more. He's on first in the pitch to Ernie Clement. Runner takes off and the pitch is bounced over the mound. Charging in second baseman Clemens throws to first just in time. Up to second goes the base runner Nathan Lucas, who was off on the pitch, and there's one out.
That was a really late swing from Ernie Clement. It's almost like he took that ball out of Ryan Jeffers' glove. Did his job, though, got Nathan Lucas to second base with less than 2 outs in this inning.
Don't know if maybe that was a hit and run and that's why there was the awkward swing, or just they're setting the guy and Ernie has the opportunity to swing if he wants to.
I would say that was
a hit
and run. Yeah. Why would you swing that late?
First pitch to Andres Jimenez, called a strike, 0-1. I mean, we don't know what would have happened, but it seemed like a pretty good jump from Lucas. Either way, runner in scoring position now for Andres Jimenez, who's 0 for 1 today. A 1 pitch. Fouled back, 0-2. Since returning from his long-ish stint on the injured list, Jimenez 3 for 10, including the out made today, with a double and 2 walks. Left-handed hitter. Feet wide in the stance. The 0-2. In the dirt. Tracked the curveball all the way down below the zone. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
That's a good take. That's a pretty good curveball from Paddock. Just below that strike zone. A good job bouncing that thing right behind home plate.
Paddock with his face in his glove, shakes off a sign, shakes off another, and now nods, standing up straight as he sets at the chest. 1-2. Curve in the dirt again, and again it looked like Jimenez had a really good feel for that pitch coming out of the hand of the right-hander.
Yeah, you could see him bending the knees, really following that pitch all the way. Good job.
Nathan Lucas with a healthy leadoff second base. No infielder playing that close to him. Correa creeps in behind now. A look from Paddock. One more peek in the 2-2. Jimenez hits a ball out to right field. Moving back Larnach toward the warning track, makes the catch. Lucas will tag. He'll advance up to third with 2 outs.
Ben, I have a quick question for you. What is more intimidating than a 6'5" Texan nicknamed the Sheriff?
Not much. Not much. Maybe the gargantuan closer nicknamed the Mountain for the Baltimore Orioles. But I mean, Chris Paddock, when he's on, is dominating. He's really fun to watch. A guy who, if he didn't get injured so much, might have had a bit of a straighter line to get to this point where he's having a good season in 2025. First pitch to Jonathan Clase, misses down and away, ball 1. Instead, his second Tommy John surgery limited him to only 7 appearances in less than 30 innings in 2022 and 2023. Last year, he did make 17 starts at least. 1-0. Hit foul. 1 ball and 1 strike. But even had a forearm strain last year limiting him. It's been tough. He had a great rookie year. Was not great in either of the 2 years after that, but goes to a new team and is hurt all the time with the new team. Coming into his own here, and now his 7th big league season. 1-1. Clase takes a fastball in her third, called a strike. Clase nodding his head. It's 1-2. 2-0 Blue Jays, top of the 4th. Runner on third base, Nathan Lucas. Leads off in foul territory in the eye line of Chris Paddock. 1-2 pitch. Called strike 3. Beautiful backdoor slider. Clips the outside corner. Second strikeout of the day for Chris Paddock in a second straight scoreless inning. No runs on a hit, 1 left. Blue Jays 2, Twins 0, middle of the 4th. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Be at the ballpark on Wednesday, June 18th for a picture-perfect evening of Blue Jays baseball. Arrive early to receive your Kevin Gausman t-shirt giveaway, presented by Ryobi, free to the first 15,000 fans. Find your seats at BlueJays.com.
At Crown Rust Control, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Did you know spring's the best time of year to protect your vehicle from rust? For a special spring offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
Every Friday home game is a City Connect Friday. And on this Friday, we shine. On June 20th, it's Pride Night presented by TD. The first 15,000 fans in attendance will receive a crossbody bag. City Connect Fridays. Night mode. Lights up. Let's go.
Breaking It Bet365 must be 19 or older, Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connectsontario.ca.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Going back, Varsho slips on the warning track and makes the catch!
Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Welcome to the Timbermart broadcast booth. Ben Schulman and Chris LaRue, our host Joe Ali, our producer Nick Blackmore, and our technical director Tom Young. 2-0, the Blue Jays lead the Twins. Bottom of the fourth starts with a rip and a miss from the top of the order hitter Trevor Larnach, right fielder for Minnesota. Larnach, the only guy to reach against Kevin Gausman, walked in the first, although was forced out on an inning-ending double play. 0-1. Low, 1 ball, 1 strike. Blue Jays came into this game saying that there's a little bit more of a need for Gausman to pitch into the game. Toronto did use 6 different pitchers yesterday and likely has both of its lefties down. 1-1. Hit on the ground towards second. Picked up by Jimenez. Tosses to first, and Kevin Gausman gets his 10th out on his 44th pitch.
The Out-of-Town Scoreboard is brought to you by St. Louis Bar and Grill, 100% Canadian owned and operated since 1992. It's the return of the Big Cluckin' Deal. All-you-can-eat wings are on now for a limited time. Visit stlouiswings.com for details. You are welcome.
No other AL East games in progress right now. Later on today, the Rays host the Marlins at 4:10. Yankees, Red Sox in the Bronx at 7:35. First pitch from Gausman misses low to Ryan Jeffers, ball 1. And you have the Orioles taking on the A's at 10:05 in West Sacramento. (1-0). Slider down and away, 2 balls, no strikes. For the Blue Jays right now, 2-0 over Minnesota. 1 out, bases empty, bottom 4. There are some games going on right now, though, including a resumption of a suspended game. Arizona and Cincinnati stopped in the 7th. Now they're in the 10th inning. 2-0 pitch called a strike, 2-1. Picking up today in a 3-3 tie. It's remained a 3-3 tie into extra innings in that one. Dodgers and Cardinals are facing off after the Cardinals shut out the Dodgers yesterday on the back of a great Sonny Gray start. Today it's 0-0. 2-1. Jeffers pops it foul out of play to the right, 2-2. That game in the 4th inning in St. Louis, where the Blue Jays will be next. And then you have 2 of the best teams in baseball. Maybe the National League's best in the Cubs, and I would say certainly the American League's best in the Tigers, facing off at Comerica Park. 2-2. Low with the splitter, ball 3.
Well, over the last 30 days, Ben, they're second best.
That's true.
The Yankees are best in all of Major League Baseball.
Tigers did beat the Cubs yesterday. Cubs are leading today in the 9th inning, 6-1. 3-2. Jeffers lines it out to left field and down for a base hit. One hopping into the glove of Nathan Lucas. It's the first hit of the day for the Twins. It comes with 1 out in the bottom of the 4th.
Well, you could tell that Ryan Jeffers was thinking fastball there. That's the only way that he gets to that fastball there. Good fastball in the inside part, down and in, 95. He just whips the barrel through and hammers that ball into left field.
Jeffers will talk quickly with Vladimir Guerrero Jr. on first as Carlos Correa, the former Astro, comes up. Want to get back to Cubs-Tigers in just a sec. First, though, Correa, who hit into a double play in the 1st inning, steps in from the right side in the pitch. Called a strike, splitter elevated on the inner edge there for 0-1. So the Cubs and Tigers, 2 teams that have World Series aspirations this year, something that Central Division teams have not felt in a while. 0-1. Low, 1 ball, 1 strike.
In either league.
In either league.
Yeah.
Do you remember the last time a Central League team was in the World Series? Or Central Division team, pardon me, was in the World Series? Either Central.
It definitely wasn't the Pirates.
It wasn't the Pirates. I can tell you that for certain. 1-1 to Correa. Lined out to left field and down in front of Lucas again. He'll field it on a bounce to his left. Up to second goes Jeffers. 2 on with 1 out. The last time a Central Division team was in the World Series was when the Cubs won it in 2016.
Oh, yeah, that's kind of an easy one.
But there's been no Central Division team
then.
even in the World Series. That was a matchup of 2 of them between the Cubs and the Guardians. To not even have a team get into the World Series is somewhat mind-blowing. And of course, the Astros have been in a lot. The Dodgers have been in a lot. Yankees, Red Sox are going to make their fair share of appearances. Haven't seen the Twins in a World Series in a little bit. They have 2 on, 1 out, and the pitch low to Matt Wallner, ball 1. So this could be a renaissance year for Centrals. They had a good run there, especially with how good the Cardinals were at one point. Tigers were a perennial contender at one point. Gausman looking back at second, 1-0. Check swing outside to Wallner. 2 balls, no strikes. First and second, 1 down, 2-0 Blue Jays. Bottom of the 4th. Gausman to Matt Wallner. A ball fouled back, 94 on the outside edge. Wallner just tossed the bat out at it, 2-1. Jeffers on second, Correa on first. Wallner leaning back from the left side, 2-1. Fouled off of the glove of Heineman, 96, a little bit elevated, 2-2.
Missed his spot there. You can see Tyler Heineman set up and in at the hands of Wallner there, but he threw that pitch almost right down the middle. Wallner just missed it, fouling it back. I believe it was into the glove of Tyler Heineman.
It being maybe half an inch above middle might have saved that from being a hit. Wallner just got under it. Now a step off and look at second. Jeffers all over it. Meets Bichette at the bag. No throw. Two count, 1 out. First and second for the Twins. Just picked up their first 2 hits of the day. Gausman offers. Fastball inside at 97. Ball 3. Right-hander had cruised until this inning. Got the first out, but then a couple line drives to left. Payoff pitch. Splitter low. Ball 4. Really tough take by Wallner. And the bases are loaded. Gausman thought that was a strike, and now John Schneider is out there. I think he's trying to make sure that Gausman doesn't get himself in trouble here. He's going to meet the home plate umpire, Chad Whitson.
Well, Kevin Gausman was immediately screaming at Chad Whitson, saying, that's two. So I can only assume that Kevin Gausman thinks that he missed 2 pitches during that at-bat. That last split finger was a good pitch. It was a good take from Wallner, but that's a ball. It was below the strike zone, but that was actually a good job from John Schneider, sprinting out there, getting in between Kevin Gausman and the home plate umpire and keeping Kevin Gausman in this ballgame.
Now Pete Walker is going to go out and talk to Gausman as Schneider wraps up his conversation with Chad Whitson. So we can do some news on the St. Louis Bar and Grill out-of-town scoreboard. 1 good, 1 bad. Tough news, Bryce Harper hits the injured list today. Right wrist injury for Harper, who had just come back from a minor injury to be in the Blue Jays series. But fun news, saw reports yesterday, Craig Kimbrell selected from AAA by the Atlanta Braves. He returns to the Braves for the first time since 2014, the team that he made his name with.
Talk about disgusting. 2014 Craig Kimbrell. Oh, my goodness.
One of the great closers in the game's history. He is up there in all-time saves. Bases loaded, 1 out. Pitch to Ty France. Fouled off the glove of Heineman. 0-1. Massive spot in this ballgame. 2-0 for the Blue Jays. Bottom of the 4th. The bases are loaded with Jeffers on third, Correa on second, and Wallner on first. Only 1 out. Ty France at the plate. His 33 RBIs lead anyone in the lineup today. 0-1. Splitter for a strike. That one clipped the zone. 0-2.
Well, you can bet that Chad Whitson is going to call that pitch right there. Maybe a little borderline split finger at the bottom of the strike zone.
Better than the other one.
Definitely better than the other one.
Gausman set. Looks to second. And the 0-2. Fastball hit him. 95 ran up and in and got Ty France. And they'll boo. There's literally no way you would do that on purpose. And it'll cost the Blue Jays a run. In to score goes Jeffers, up to third Correa. Wallner at second and France at first after the hit batter.
That's just too bad. An 0-2 fastball hitting Ty France. You know that Ty France will take that all day long, but the fastball just gets away from him. They were trying to go up and in, and it ran up into the tricep of Ty France. Hopefully he's okay.
He goes down to first with no check from the trainers. And now this gets real dangerous. It's Royce Lewis up with the bases loaded. Lewis can be a double play candidate. First pitch. Splitter low ball 1. Does not quite run as well as he did a couple years ago after suffering multiple lower body injuries. He's moved from the upper third in terms of sprint speed in baseball into the bottom half. 1-0. Splitter low, 2 balls, no strikes.
You have to throw a strike here. Bases loaded, 1 out in the inning. 2-0 count to Royce Lewis. And you know that's a dangerous situation to be in. A guy with 5 career grand slams.
And a 478 career average with the bases loaded in a small sample. 2-0. Fastball elevated, ball 3.
And you can bet that Royce Lewis has the green light here with the bases loaded, a 3-0 count. Kevin Gausman is most likely throwing a fastball right down the middle.
2-1 Blue Jays, the pitch. Fastball at the knees, strike 1.
That's a good pitch.
Lewis took it there. He might have still had the green light, but probably was looking for something right down the middle, or he wasn't going to swing. Bases loaded, 1 out, 3-1 count to Lewis, who will ask for time. It's granted by the home plate ump, Chad Whitson.
And now you could probably think about throwing an off-speed pitch, maybe a split finger here, but I would still go with the fastball.
Lewis, a career 13 for 23 against the Toronto Blue Jays just in the regular season. Gausman's 3-1. Fastball hit high in the air, foul right side again. A great pitch, 96 at the knees. And it's a full count. So what do you throw now?
Oh boy. You could throw anything. I would throw a split finger.
3-2. Fastball inside, ball 4. Gausman walks in a run. And on basically 2 free passes, the Twins have tied the game.
That's a tough pitch. They're coming inside on a 3-2 count. It's always hard to go inside because in the back of your mind, you're thinking this guy's sitting dead red. I don't want to leave it out over the middle of the plate. And if you come inside, you potentially hit a guy again. You just hit Ty France, so you don't want to hit Royce Lewis. That's a tough location to be in a 3-2 count with the bases loaded.
2-2 game, 1 out, bottom of the 4th. Corners in for the infield as left-handed hitting Cody Clemens comes up. Gausman's pitch. Check swing, called a strike on a pitch that looked pretty far outside. 0-1.
Cody Clemens shaking his head right now. Didn't agree with that call.
Blue Jays have the bullpen up right now. Gausman struggling for the zone this inning. 2 walks, 2 hit batters. 0-1. Is a splitter hit on the ground at third. Clement goes to the plate for 1 out. Heineman over to first. Double play. 5-2-3. The Blue Jays turn it. Clement to Heineman to Guerrero. And as tough as that inning was, Toronto escapes the 4th in a tie game. 2-2 is the score as we go to the 5th. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming on the Sportsnet app and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Every fan who never stopped dreaming of her music. Siempre Selena. timeless hits and powerful memories on a channel devoted to the voice that broke barriers and still inspires. Siempre Selena. Now for a limited time on Channel 79 and at home with SiriusXM on your phone, computer, Alexa, TV, and other internet-connected devices.
Fantasy Sports Radio is helping you win your fantasy leagues right now on Channel 87.
Say goodbye, home run Aaron Judge.
From in-season fantasy baseball management to helping you prepare for your fantasy football drafts, Fantasy Sports Radio is here to help you dominate.
Don't ever take a player that you don't intend to keep all year. Don't do it. It's terrible management.
Fantasy Sports Radio, your home for fantasy sports. Channel 87 and on the SiriusXM app.
This is Mike Farron from Power Alley. When you work together as long as former general manager Jim Duquette and I have...
5 years.
13. Regardless, we know everything about each other, like my favorite city.
New York.
Chicago. My favorite food.
Hot dog with lots of ketchup.
Gross. My favorite musician.
Billy Joel.
Somehow even more gross. Jim, what do you actually know about me?
You love baseball, just like me.
Join us for baseball talk and apparently very little else on Power Alley, weekdays, 10 a.m. Eastern, MLB Network Radio, Channel 89, and on the SiriusXM app.
Well said, Mitch.
It's Mike.
From in-season fantasy baseball management to helping you prepare for your fantasy football drafts, Fantasy Sports Radio is helping you dominate. Channel 87 and on the SiriusXM app.
Blue Jays 2, Twins 2 after a 2-hit, 2-walk, and 1-hit batter inning by Minnesota. It could have been a lot worse if not for a double play turned by the Blue Jays. That was turned by Tyler Heineman. He hits now, and the pitch is a curveball for a strike. Paddock gets ahead of him, 0-1. If you weren't with us, inning ended with a Cody Clemens grounder to third. Clement came up with it through the plate, and then Heineman caught it like a first baseman, shuffled through down to first to get Clemens for a 5-2-3 double play. Heineman 1 for 1 today with his third career Major League home run, 0-1. In the dirt, 1 ball, 1 strike.
That's always a tough throw for any catcher because you catch the baseball, you have your foot on home plate, and as you turn to first base, that runner is almost in your view.
1-1. Swing and a pop-up. Shortstop Correa out onto the shallow left field. Grass makes a one-handed catch. 1 out.
And obviously you don't want to hit the runners, so you end up throwing almost too far off the line, and sometimes it ends up going into right field. But a good job from Tyler Heineman making a perfect throw.
You miss that throw, it could cost you 2 runs.
Right.
Instead, a tie game as the order comes up for a third time. Top of the order hitter Bo Bichette hits with 1 out. Paddock winds and deals. Foul tip, strike 1. Meanwhile, Chris Paddock has really settled into this game. Gave up 2 hits and a walk for a run in the first. Solo shot in the second. He's allowed just a single since the start of the third. 0-1 pitch is hit off the handle. A little looper, 1 hops to first. France picks it up, flips back underhanded to Paddock, 2 down. Twins bullpen is pretty rested. They did get 7 innings out of Bailey Ober yesterday. But Paddock is rolling, only on 66 pitches, so no need to think about the pen yet. 2 outs, top of the 5th, base is empty. Here's Vlad Guerrero Jr. First pitch, fastball inside.
He's really only made 1 mistake today. To Tyler Heineman, he threw a 4-seam fastball right down Broadway. I'm sure he didn't think Tyler Heineman would hammer that thing over the wall in right field.
1-0 pitch is hit foul to the right, 1-1. And Vlad single in the first and Lucas's single to score Vlad from second base. Both came on pitches out of the zone. 1-1 count to Guerrero. Paddock nods, glove in front of his face. Long look in. Now he steps to the left, kicks and throws. Fastball cut on and miss. Backswing clip Jeffers. Guerrero making sure he's all right. It's 1-2. 5th inning is brought to you by Desjardins Insurance. Get insurance that's really big on care at Desjardins.com/care today. Vlad steps back in, taps the plate. Paddock about to offer his 70th pitch. Into the wind, here it comes. Outside with the slider. Guerrero 1 for 2. Single to right, ground out to third. 2-2 pitch. High ball 3. Pretty close. Good take there by Vlad, who had started to move the hands, but held up and threw him high in the air. If Guerrero can reach, Addison Barger's on deck. Full count, 2 outs. Paddock's payoff pitch. Swinging a liner off the pitcher's side. Goes back to the mound to pick up the ball. Throws to first. France steps on the bag to end the inning. Hopefully Chris Paddock is all right. He just took 90 miles an hour off of the back or the ribs, it seemed. But either way, he comes up with a 1-2-3 inning to keep this game tied at 2, middle of the 5th. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Sports are all about moments.
One of the most incredible, miraculous finishes we have ever seen.
And you can hear them all.
He scores! Alex Ovechkin! There's a new goal-scoring champion!
As they happen.
Oh my goodness! Shohei Ohtani, a sayonara swing!
Live in the moment.
Rory McIlroy on his knees. He's won the Masters.
With live sports on Sirius XM and the Sirius XM app.
Wake up! Wake up, everybody! This is Steve Phillips from the leadoff spot on MLB Network Radio. Join me and former Major League Baseball players Eduardo Perez and Xavier Scruggs as we react to all the latest news and scores across baseball and have...
Cheers, Insiders! Thank you for hanging out with us today, tonight, this morning, middle of the night, middle of the afternoon, wherever it is that you're hanging out with us, listening to the Blue Jays, chatting it up, keeping it classy. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You all rock. You are awesome. We appreciate you hanging out with us, cheering on our Blue Jays, because our Jays are special. This season, we've got something. These kids are going to put something together, I have a feeling. And we have a chance to make a playoff push, and we got to get behind them. And I'm just here to say thank you to you, you, for being here and making a difference with us here on TSI, making this awesome place to hang out for people, sports fans all over the world, and making that difference with SickKids Hospital in Toronto. As a percentage of our revenue from every single game is donated to SickKids Hospital. We are over $12,000 in our first year of donating and fundraising for SickKids Hospital. That's impressive. And that's on you and everybody else who's been here during a Toronto Sports Insider Live. Now let's get back to the baseball. Come on, Blue Jays. Let's go get a playoff spot. Isn't that pretty? That's so pretty. I just love these awesome plaques and play buttons. Thank you, Insiders, Blue Jays fans. Thank you for helping us reach this amazing, amazing milestone.
Fastball fouled away. Heineman's glove was above the zone. That fastball was right down the middle, but Castro was late on it. Toronto had Braden Fisher up last inning. 0-2. Fastball high, outside, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
He does still have that good velo, though. That last fastball was 95. The one before that was 96 miles an hour. Willie Castro is a good hitter. 4 homers in his last 7 games.
1-2. Low and in with that splitter. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Castro had a mid-April oblique strain, put him on the injured list for about 2 weeks. He wasn't hitting great before that, but since he's been really good, and like you mentioned recently, he's been great. 2-2. Lined away foul, 96 on the outer third, spoiled by the switch hitter batting left. Castro's really found a home with the Twins. Originally a signing of Cleveland, debuted with the division rival Tigers. But it's Minnesota where he's been at his best. 2-2. Fastball froze him. Strike 3 looking. 3rd strikeout of the day for Kevin Gausman.
What a pitch. You could tell that Willie Castro was expecting split finger or back foot slider. Kevin Gausman throws that fastball at the bottom of the strike zone. Willie Castro slowly walks back to that dugout.
Of the 3 strikeouts for Gausman today, that's the first one on the 4-seamer. With 1 out, Harrison Bader comes up. First pitch slider, check swing, appeal down to first base. And he did not go. Ball 1. (1-0). Splitter low, 2 balls and no strikes. Bader on a 1-year, $6.5 million deal with the Twins. Signed that in February of 2025. There's a mutual option for a little bit more money next year. 2-0. Swing and a liner fouled. 2 balls and 1 strike. Third straight time that the Twins have signed a 1-year deal with a veteran 4th outfielder. This year, like the last 2 years, it's ended up being much bigger of a role than 4th outfielder because Buxton has not stayed healthy all the time. So you end up playing most days. 2-1. Hit well. Right center field. Ranging back Clase, and that one is off the fence. Bader around first. He'll jog into second with a stand-up double.
That's a good swing from Harrison Bader. I feel like that's a good signing for the Minnesota Twins just because the ceiling is relatively high. Obviously, he hasn't played up to that potential that he had early in his career, but that's a good swing there, taking a tough fastball up and away, hammering that thing into the gap.
You could argue, too, he brings you kind of a high floor because he's a Gold Glove caliber defender out there. Worst case scenario, you just play him as a 4th outfielder, and he plays very well out there, and you take what you can get offensively. That is his 8th double of the year to pair with 6 homers. Bader on second, 1 out. Pitch to Trevor Larnach is a fastball on the corner, strike 1. But Twins have done this a couple years in a row. Manuel Margot was their guy last year. Didn't go great. His defense was not great in center field. They ended up moving him into a corner. 0-1 to Larnach. Splitter low, 1 ball, 1 strike.
You're a big fan of the mutual option, aren't you?
Yeah, well, I don't know what's faker, the mutual option or the I won't sign a contract before this deadline.
Yeah.
Neither of those ever seem to be true. Mutual options, you got to thread quite the needle for both the team and the player to want to meet up again. 1-1 pitch is a grounder, diving stop at first flat, flips from the seat of his pants to Gausman, who makes a nice catch and finds the bag in time for the out. What a play that was from everyone involved. Vladdy dove to the backhand side, throwing off the seat of his pants. It was behind Gausman, so he did an Odell Beckham Jr. impression before getting over to the bag for the out. Up to third goes Bader, 2 down.
And then immediately looked over to third base to make sure Harrison Bader wasn't trying to sneak home. A really nice play from Kevin Gausman on the run.
Little former LSU Tiger.
Little spring training PFP there for Kevin Gausman.
You don't think it's going to matter, and then it does. And now just to give him a breather maybe and talk about the scouting report for Ryan Jeffers, Tyler Heineman goes out to the hill to talk to Gausman. Bader on third base. He's in conversation with Tommy Watkins, third base coach for the Twins. Gausman with sweat staining the brim of his powder blue cap. Steps back on top of the hill. Dark blue cap, but a powder blue brim. And about half of it is darkened with sweat. The sun has come out at Target Field. It's low 20s in Minneapolis. Runner on third, 2 down, 2-2 game, bottom 5. Pitch to Jeffers. Right-handed hitting catcher takes strike 1. 2 good swings today from Jeffers. Singled for the first Twins hit of the day in the 4th, but he also hit a rope of a liner up the middle in the 1st that was caught by Bo Bichette. A 1. Fastball called a strike. Outer third and lower third. 0-2.
2 missed locations there from Kevin Gausman. Tyler Heineman was set up above the strike zone. They tried to elevate that fastball, but for the second straight pitch, he threw a fastball probably about thigh high.
I think these guys just sit splitter a lot. They've taken some hittable fastballs out of the Twins. 0-2. Fastball elevated that time, fouled back.
That's a good pitch. Finally hit his spot. Ryan Jeffers was able to just get a piece of it to stay alive.
You see those some weird takes You look today, Willie Castro in this inning took a fastball over the plate for strike 3. Yesterday, Bader in the 9th against Hoffman, who has a splitter, took a fastball over the heart of the plate. 0-2, swing and a miss at the splitter, strike 3. Gausman with 2 punch-outs in the inning, gives up a double but strands Bader on third. 2-2 score going to the 6th at Target Field. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming on the Sportsnet app and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Not tomorrow, not someday. The home improvements begin today. It's game on with Timber Mart. Build that deck, raise that fence, landscape till your property is beautiful. Make no payments for 12 months with the Timber Mart Deferred Payment Program. Apply for a Timber Mart project card today and pay later, 12 months later. Financing provided by Fairstone Financial Inc. Conditions apply. Ask in-store for details or apply at timbermart.ca. Locally owned, proudly Canadian. Timber Mart is Canada's building center.
At Crown Rust Control Center, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control Center is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Did you know spring's the best time of year to protect your vehicle from rust? For a special spring offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
Sportsnet Plus is the streaming home of the Blue Jays.
Oh, what a catch!
Stream over 150 Blue Jays games all season long.
You won't see this anywhere else.
Including pre- and post-game coverage with Jamie and Joe on Blue Jays Central.
One of the best in the game right here.
Watch all the Blue Jays action wherever you are, at home or on the go.
Don't you love baseball?
Plans start from $24.99 a month.
We are good to go.
Subscribe at sportsnetplus.ca. This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Ground ball to second, picked up Jimenez, flips to Bichette for 1, over to first, double play.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Welcome to the Timber Mart broadcast booth. Alongside Chris LaRue, I'm Ben Schulman. Top of the 6th inning, 2-2 score. Addison Barger takes a strike to lead off the frame from Chris Paddock. Paddock's been really good last 3 innings. 1 hit allowed, and now the 0-1 is hit on the ground to deep first. Fielded by Francie, flips over to Paddock. 1 down. Let's go over to the St. Louis Bar and Grill out-of-town scoreboard. The suspended game between Cincinnati and Arizona that was picked up today came to a close just a couple moments ago. 4-3. The Reds beat the Diamondbacks. Walk-off double by Christian Encarnacion Strand in the bottom of the 10th inning. Blue Jays will see the Diamondbacks in a little bit when they come back home from this trip. Pitch to George Springer. Call to strike. Other final, the Cubs defeat the Tigers 6-1. That series is now evened up. Oh, 1. Fouled off 0-2. Really good day for Canadian national team pitcher Jameson Taillon. 7 innings for Taillon. 3 hits, 1 run, a walk, and 5 strikeouts.
He's been around a long time.
He has. He's been really steady for a long time, too. 0-2. Low, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
I think people tend to forget about him. He's a fly under the radar type of guy, but he's been really steady for, let's say, what is he? He's got to have 10 years now, right? Ish.
Debuted in 16. Yeah. So, yeah. 1-2. Hit on the ground by Springer to short. His former teammate Carlos Correa picks it up, throws over to first, and a couple of former Houston Astros factor into that play. A 6-3 putout, 2 down. This 6th inning is brought to you by Desjardins Insurance. Get insurance that's really big on care at Desjardins.com/care today. 2 outs, space is empty. 2-2 game, Blue Jays and Twins. Nathan Lucas to hit. First pitch drops in there, a slider on the outer third, strike 1. Lucas has the most recent Blue Jays hit, a single in the 4th. He's 2 for 2 on the day. 0-1. Fouled back, spinning slider over the middle, 0-2.
A lot of the times Chris Paddock throws that slider to left-handers outside, and it reminds me of a cutter more so than a slider. Not really a lot of movement but it's the location on that pitch that's effective for Paddock.
His 2-strike pitch. Fastball fouled away. Yeah, it's almost got cutter velocity, too. He'll throw it up to 90, and his fastball sits 93, 94. Shrug of the shoulders from the 6'5 righty who winds and offers. Missed just down and away with that slider cutter. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
To righties, though, there's a little bit more movement. He gets on top of it more, a little bit more side to side. For whatever reason, it just reminds me of a cutter when there's a lefty in that batter's box.
1-2. Low with a changeup. 2 balls, 2 strikes as that one bounced just behind home plate. Twins have the last 2 runs in this game. It's tied at 2 in the 6th. 2-2 pitch. Outside again with that slider. A couple near misses on the outer edge or just off the outer edge. Full count.
How about that take from Nathan Lucas?
14 walks this year for Lucas to 16 strikeouts. Payoff pitch. Outside with the change ball 4. Battles his way back from an 0-2 hole, taking 4 straight pitches to get aboard with 2 down.
That's some good respect there from Chris Paddock. A 3-2 changeup. Gotta love that.
4 bombs this year for Lucas. That sends Lucas down to first and Ernie Clement up to the plate. Last time Ernie was up, they put Lucas in motion, but Clement put it in place, so Lucas didn't get a stolen base. The pitch. Swing and a high pop-up. First base side foul. France looking up into the sun on the grass foul territory, makes the catch. Sunglasses on his cap to end the inning. No runs, no hits, 1 left for the Blue Jays. Middle of the 6th. It's Blue Jays 2, Twins 2. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
This summer, the smooth never stops on Yacht Rock Radio. Weekends begin with Club Yacht Rock. Sundays keep it cool with Yacht Soul Sundays.
It's an hour of smooth R&B and soul hosted by yours truly, Al Roker.
In between, smooth, soft rock from the 70s and 80s. Yacht Rock Radio, Channel 15 all summer, and at home with the SiriusXM app on your phone, computer, Alexa, TV, or other internet-connected devices.
I'm John Paul Morosi, host of the SiriusXM original podcast, The Road to Cooperstown. Hear our conversations with Hall of Famers about the challenges they overcame on the journey to baseball immortality.
It is a hard game, and mentally it's hard.
I used to go to bed crying. They pretty much knew I was going to have lung surgery after the season. I wasn't for sure. Would I ever play baseball again?
The Road to Cooperstown is the official podcast of the National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum. Episodes are available now on the SiriusXM app or wherever you get your podcasts.
This is Steve Phillips from the leadoff spot. Join me and Xavier Scruggs Monday at 7 a.m. Eastern as we recap all the action from the weekend in baseball, including the Brewers hosting the Padres and a rivalry clash between the Red Sox and Yankees. We'll give you all the big plays from all the big games in case you missed it. Take you around the bases with all the top stories, and you can watch us live on MLB Network at 9 a.m. Eastern. All that and more in the leadoff spot on MLB Network Radio, Channel 89, and on the SiriusXM app.
In season or out of season, the number 1 place for college sports is SiriusXM College Sports Radio, Channel 84.
Radio Network.
Still Kevin Gausman for the Blue Jays as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Toronto at Target Field, 2-2 score, Blue Jays and Twins. And outside of a bumpy 4th, Gausman has been really strong today, allowing only 2 earned runs. He'll take on the middle of the Twins order. Carlos Correa swings at the first pitch and ropes it foul into the seats down the line. 0-1.
Almost seemed like Carlos Correa was trying to ambush Kevin Gausman there. That was a fastball inside off the plate. Carlos Correa got the barrel to it.
He can do that. Great player, Correa, approaching 200 career home runs. 0-1 pitch is low. 1 ball, 1 strike. It's his 4th year with the Minnesota Twins after 7 seasons as a Houston Astro. Correa, the first overall pick in 2012, 1 pick ahead of his current teammate, Byron Buxton. 1-1 pitch, hit foul, 92 over the middle, sent into the seats off to the right. 1-2. There was a lot of times where it felt like Correa would not be in a Twins uniform at this point. But he has signed 2 significant contracts with the Minnesota Twins. 1-2. Swing and a miss. He got him. Fastball lower third at 95. Correa swings under it, and there's one out.
Just blew that thing right by him. Still some gas in the tank. Even later on into this ball game, just blows that thing right by Carlos Correa. You could tell he was expecting something other than that four-seamer.
So 1 out in the bottom of the 6th as Gausman is on 92 pitches. He looks into Matt Wallner. Right on left, he offers. Pitch grounded foul, 0-1. It's easy to forget now, though, the crazy Carlos Correa saga. Let go of by the Astros to go to free agency after being the shortstop on a pennant-winning team in 2021. He signs a big 3-year deal with the Twins, $105 million, but it had opt-outs, as many Boris deals do after each of the first 2 years. 0-1 cut on and miss, 0-2. Correa has a really nice first year with the Twins, does opt out, and then reached separate deals for over $300 million with both the Giants and the Mets. Both did not like the physical. Giants just said, we're not doing this. Mets tried to renegotiate. Correa said no and signed back with the Twins, 6 years, $200 million. 0-2. Wallner takes in the dirt. So it worked out for him overall, but could have been about $100 million more.
I wonder if he regrets his decision every April when the weather is just
freezing.
terrible. It's snowing.
I mean, it's snowing in New York, potentially. Not as bad as Minnesota, though. 1-2. Hit high in the air. Right field and deep. Ranging back Barger. At the wall. It is gone. Matt Wallner leaves the yard on a fastball middle in. His 4th home run of this season, and the Twins lead for the first time today, 3-2 for Minnesota in the 6th.
Well, Kevin Gausman just missed his spot, maybe by about an inch. They were trying to come up and in, and they did come up and in. They just didn't get it up enough, up at the hands of Wallner. Loves to get those arms extended, and he just got enough of it out to right field, about 3 rows deep.
Judging off the sound of the contact, he might have broke Wallner's bat, but Wallner still got it out. Now Ty France bends the knee and takes a strike on a splitter, 0-1. Well, Chris Paddock has pitched really well and kept the Twins in it, and Minnesota has rewarded him, taking their first lead. 0-1. Called inside, probably had the inside corner. It's 1-1. 3-2 for the Twins. Gausman approaching 100 pitches. 1 out, bottom 6. The 1-1. Popped up foul. First base side, Vladdy racing back, and that one hits off the sidewall. 1-2.
It's almost like Vladimir Guerrero Jr. loves that play. Sprinting back into foul territory towards right field. He's really good at reaching out and making that play.
I would love things I'm really good at, too.
Well, it's scary to run almost directly at that short wall.
Yeah. Vladdy back to his position, playing a fair bit off the line, right-handed hitter up. And the 1-2 from Gausman. Popped up, back behind the plate. Heineman moving around Chad Whitson, drops the mask and makes the two-handed catch, 2 outs.
It's always interesting when a catcher and an umpire kind of get tangled, and then you see the catcher just push the umpire out of his way.
The only time you're allowed to contact the ump.
Tyler Heineman didn't do quite that, but him and Whitson got tangled up back there before he made the play.
2 down after the Heineman catch. Royce Lewis is stepping into the righty box. 3-2 for the Twins, bottom 6. 100 pitches for Gausman. And he offers to Lewis. Pitch inside and low, ball 1. I don't think it's that controversial of a decision or that crazy. But at least in my opinion, I don't know if Gausman's out here, if the bullpen is in a better spot for this 6th inning. I think there's a chance they would have went to the pen earlier. 1-0. Up and in, 2-0. But the Blue Jays likely don't have, well, they definitely don't have Little today. Likely don't have Fluharty. Lauer's not really an option. Neither is Schultz. And Rodriguez even went an inning plus yesterday. So there aren't a wealth of options. to bridge to the later innings. 2-0. Fouled off the mask of Heineman, who recently returned from a concussion. 2-1.
I would imagine in a one-run ball game, you will probably see Yariel Rodriguez maybe in the 7th or 8th. I don't know if he's even available at this point.
But I just think middle of the order, third time through. I don't know if Gausman would have been here. 2-1 pitch is hit very high and deep to center field, but not deep enough. It stays in the yard for Jonathan Clase to make the catch and end the inning. Kevin Gausman allows a solo homer to Matt Wallner. And after 6 innings, the Twins lead for the first time today. 3-2 for Minnesota going to the 7th. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming on the Sportsnet app and the Sportsnet radio network.
At Crown Rust Control, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Did you know spring's the best time of year to protect your vehicle from rust? For a special spring offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
Knock all your summer projects out of the park with Home Hardware, the official home improvement retailer of the Toronto Blue Jays and your DIY partner in making your dream home a reality. From gardens to garages, back decks to front doors, refreshes and renos, we're here to help you cover all your bases and make every summer project a home run. Visit any of our 1,000+ home hardware and building center locations where we're proud to be locally owned and genuinely Canadian.
This TSC Showstopper deal is like 2 stylish pillows for your feet. Save 30% on Skechers slip-in sandals on June 12th at tsc.ca. Kick up your summer style with these lightweight sandals, available in 6 fun colors, with heel pillow technology that supports every step. Save 30% on Skechers slip-in sandals, the best offer of the day on June 12th. Shop exciting offers every day at tsc.ca.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
He makes the catch, and the Blue Jays win the ball game.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Welcome to the Timber Mart broadcast booth. Alongside Chris LaRue, I'm Ben Schulman. Blue Jays trailing the Twins at this point. It is 3-2 for Minnesota after a bottom of the 6th homer by Matt Wallner. Top of the 7th starts with a new Twins pitcher. Right-hander Louis Varland is in the game, and a pitching change brought to you by Home Hardware, the official home improvement retailer for the Toronto Blue Jays, locally owned, genuinely Canadian. First pitch from the righty, misses outside at 98 for ball 1. Varland, at times a starter or swingman in his career, deals home. And the fastball hit on the ground sharply past the dive of the shortstop Correa into left center field. A base hit for Andres Jimenez.
How about that? What a swing from Andres Jimenez. Continues to stay hot after coming off the IL. Takes that fastball at 97 and hammers it right back up the middle, out just past the outstretched glove of Carlos Correa.
Blue Jays get the tying run aboard. Just their 2nd hit since the 2nd inning. Jonathan Clase is up. And Royce Lewis is going to play even further in at 3rd than usual. I don't blame him. Wouldn't be shocked to see a bunt. The pitch, Clase squares and pops it up. Foul over the netting. 0-1.
Perfect pitch location there. When you see a guy square, especially when you have stuff like Varland, upper 90s, you want to elevate that fastball, see if he can pop that thing up.
Louis Varland making his 32nd appearance of the year, a 2.5 ERA in 28 innings, and he's punched out 33. 0-1. Clase swings and fouls it off, 0-2. They've done this a couple times with Clase. I don't really think it's a straight sacrifice call where they get him to bunt somewhere in between a sacrifice and a base hit. And if he moves the guy over, great. If he gets on, even better. And if he pops it up foul, then they just let him swing away. 0-2. In the dirt, blocked there by Jeffers. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
It's interesting that you bring that up. Some guys, specifically guys that are good bunters, they can run, they refuse to let themselves sacrifice bunt. So even if they get the sacrifice bunt from the third base coach and Carlos Fablis, they still think that they need to bring it with them or potentially get to first base. They refuse to sacrifice.
1-2. outside 2-2.
Now, I'm not saying that's the case here.
At least my personal opinion, I don't think that's happening.
That's not. I'm not saying that is the case. I'm just saying that a lot of guys that can run, they just say to themselves, "I can get on here. I can get on here," and they refuse to sacrifice.
If he had bunted again second pitch, then I would think that more. 2-2 is 98 elevated. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Class A goes down, 1 out. Let's go over quickly the St. Louis Bar and Grill out-of-town scoreboard. Big news in Tampa today. Evan Longoria signing a one-day contract with the Rays to retire as a Tampa Bay Ray. One of, if not, maybe the greatest Ray that they've had. 10 seasons with Tampa Bay. Went to a World Series with the Rays. And cool to see him wrap up his career with the Rays logo behind him. Step-off throw over to first by Louis Varland. Dive back in by Jimenez.
He actually has a sports bar in Tampa. I forget what it's called, but it's pretty good. Good wings.
Longos, maybe? I don't know.
No, that's a grocery store.
That is, you're right. All of our out-of-town scores and updates brought to you by St. Louis Bar and Grill. 3-2 Twins, and the pitch to Tyler Heineman. Breaking ball for a strike. Loud stuff for Louis Varland. Even louder since he's moved to more one-inning relief appearances. 98 average on a four-seamer, big curve, sinker, slider, and change. Prior to this year, had never averaged more than 96 on his four-seamer. 0-1. Breaking ball in the dirt, check swing. It did go, according to the home plate umpire, Chad Whitson. Heineman nodded his head in agreement, 0-2. Twins got a nasty back end of the bullpen between guys like Varland, Griffin Jacks, Duran.
This is a big inning, especially with that guy standing at first base, less than 2 outs. You get Jacks next inning, and then you get Duran in the 9th. It's a tough ask.
0-2. Swing and a liner up the middle into center field for a base hit. Up to second goes Jimenez. He'll stop there. And Tyler Heineman stays hot. He's got multiple hits for the 4th time in his last 5 starts.
This is getting absurd. That was a tough pitch from a very tough pitcher. He just stays right on that thing, hammers it right back up the middle. I mean, he is on some sort of run right now.
Heineman had the homer earlier. Now he's trying to set up a run to get the Blue Jays to a tie or maybe even take the lead. 2 on, 1 out, and the pitch to Bo Bichette. High at 97, ball 1. Blue Jays have seen Varland a little bit. Comes to mind his 2 appearances in the American League Wildcard Series 2 years ago. That was when he was more of a swing man or long man. He's made 22 starts in his major league career. This is his 48th appearance overall out of the pen. Is 1-0. In the dirt, 2 balls and no strikes. He falls behind Bichette.
Tyler Heineman's now hitting .418, Ben.
He's like Ted Williams out there. Heineman leading off first. Jimenez on second. 2-0. Swing and a rocket foul on the ground. Third base side. 2-1.
That's a good 2-0 pitch. A good fastball in off the plate. Bo Bichette was sitting dead red there. Wasn't able to do anything with that pitch, but hit it foul.
Bichette taps the plate. Looks out at the St. Paul, Minnesota native, Louis Varland. The 2-1. Breaking ball called a strike. Great pitch on the outside corner at the knees. 2-2. Go ahead run on first base. Bo in the box in a 2-2 count with 1 out and Guerrero on deck. 2-2. Check swing on a pitch downstairs. Appeal down to third, and he did go around, says Dan Merzel. We'll take a look at the side view, but they say Bichette broke the plane there, so they're 2 down.
Well, I didn't think he went, but Bo Bichette didn't argue, so you have to think that he did go. We're going to get the side view here. It was borderline. He did go, though.
2 strikeouts and 2 base hits allowed for Varland. His pitch to Vlad is inside, ball 1. Guerrero has one of the 6 Blue Jays hits in the game. Toronto's out hitting Minnesota 6-4. But the Twins hits came in bunches. It's allowed them to lead 3-2. 2 on, 2 out, and the 1-0. Swing and a bouncing ball hit to shortstop. Picked up Correa, pumps, throws on to first to end the inning. The Blue Jays do not score. They come up with 2 singles from Jimenez and Heineman, but both left on base. A scoreless 7th for Louis Varland. And at the 7th inning stretch, Twins 3, Blue Jays 2. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Be at the ballpark on Wednesday, June 18th for a picture-perfect evening of Blue Jays baseball. Arrive early to receive your Kevin Gausman t-shirt giveaway, presented by Ryobi, free to the first 15,000 fans. Find your seats at BlueJays.com.
Siding isn't just siding. It's your home's first impression and first line of defense. That's why pros reach for James Hardy, the name that built its reputation one rugged, good-looking board at a time. Engineered to stand up to Canada's wildest weather, designed to stand out on any street, and always priced right at Timber Mart. So when the job calls for smart, strong, and sharp, you'll know what to do. Timber Mart, Canada's building center.
Every Friday home game is a City Connect Friday. And on this Friday, we shine. On June 20th, it's Pride Night presented by TD. The first 15,000 fans in attendance will receive a crossbody bag. City Connect Fridays. Night mode. Lights up. Let's go.
Guess who just bundled their home and auto with Desjardins Insurance?
Well, look at you, all grown up and saving money.
Yes, I am.
Mom told you to do it, didn't she?
Yes, she did.
Get insurance that's really big on care. Switch and you could save up to 35% on home insurance when you bundle home and auto. Desjardins Insurance. Here for your home, auto, life, and business needs. Certain conditions apply.
Hi, this is Bowden Francis, and you're listening to Toronto Blue Jays Baseball on Sportsnet Radio Network.
Pocahontas in the cranberry glades.
Welcome back to Blue Jays Baseball, and welcome to the Timber Mart broadcast booth. I'm Ben Schulman, alongside former Major League pitcher Chris LaRue. 3-2 lead for the Minnesota Twins. Bottom of the 7th, Chad Green is the first arm out of the Blue Jays bullpen. He faces Cody Clemens. Fastball misses down and in, ball 1. This pitching change is brought to you by Home Hardware, the official home improvement retailer for the Toronto Blue Jays, locally owned, genuinely Canadian. Green has a 3.76 ERA this year. His pitch popped up. Middle of the infield. Everyone's coming in. So is Heineman, and Ernie Clement's going to call for it. Twisting and turning, he makes the catch. 1 out.
Looked like he was doing a little bit of a dance there. That wind must be playing with those high pop-ups.
From what we've heard, so the sun is no longer really out. From what we can see, the wind is going, and there is a looming threat of potential rain. Getting some looks right now at the flags blowing straight out in left field. Hopefully the rain holds off, but it has gotten considerably darker. First pitch to Willie Castro is lined out to right. That's a base hit. Let's go over quickly to the St. Louis Bar and Grill out-of-town scoreboard with the Blue Jays trailing 3-2 right now. Bottom of the 7th. AL East games coming up later. Rays and Marlins is about to start. That one is Taj Bradley against Ryan Weathers. 7:35 Eastern. The Red Sox visit the Yankees. Garrett Crochet against Ryan Yarbrough.
2 flamethrowers.
Absolutely. Identical pitchers. Pitch to Harrison Bader is poked out toward right center field. On the run, Clase slows up, making the call for it, and brings it in. 2 down. Castro retreats back to the first base bag. And then you got the Orioles and Athletics later. A's won the opener of that series. We got a veteran matchup. Charlie Morton is on the hill for the Orioles. He's been pitching better as of late. He'll go up against Luis Severino for the A's. 2 outs, bottom 7. 3-2 for the Twins as Green deals to Trevor Larnach. Slider, called a strike, 0-1. Green's thrown 4 pitches so far. 1 pitch to each batter. Larnach was the first one to actually take something after the pop-out single fly-out. 0-1. Swing and a liner up the middle, down in right center field. Turning around second base and heading to third goes Willie Castro. Clase's throw bounces into second. Runners on the corners, 2 down.
Well, now you have to be careful with Ryan Jeffers. That's a big run standing at third base. In a 3-2 ball game, you don't want to get to 4-2, especially with Jax coming out of that bullpen, and then you have Duran. Got to keep this a 1-run game if you're Chad Green.
Ryan Jeffers has a hit today. It started the 2-run rally in the 4th. He is 1 for 3. He also lined out and struck out swinging on a Gausman splitter. Right on right, the pitch from Chad Green. Fastball misses low, ball 1. Four-seamer, sinker, slider for Green, who was up yesterday but did not end up throwing. He was up in that long 8th inning for Brendan Little. 1-0 pitch in the dirt, skips away from Heineman briefly, but he scrambles to get it still within the dirt circle. No one moves from either first or third. It's 2-0 count. Got a base open at second base. Behind 2-0. Are you going after Jeffers, or are you nibbling a little more at this point?
I would be careful. I wouldn't necessarily nibble, but I would definitely be careful, even with Carlos Correa standing on deck.
2-0 pitch in the dirt, ball 3.
And that looks like what they're trying to do there. They're not giving Ryan Jeffers anything he can drive, potentially get to the outfield and score that run from third base.
Maybe nibble has a bit of a negative connotation. Yeah. Be careful sounds a lot better.
They probably mean the same thing.
Right.
I just don't like saying nibble.
3-0. High ball 4 through the fastball just above the zone. It's a 4-pitch walk to Jeffers. Up to second goes Larnach. Still on third, Castro. The bases are loaded with 2 outs. Pete Walker will head out to the hill. We've already checked on the St. Louis Bar and Grill out-of-town scoreboard. Why don't we go quickly to the Bet365 standings. At Bet365, you can bet on popular markets like hits, home runs, and total bases. Download the app, find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. 19 plus, play responsibly. Ontario only. Yankees leading the division, 39-23, 5.5 back are both the Rays and the Blue Jays at 34-29. Red Sox are 30-35. They're in fourth, 10.5 back, and the Orioles 25-37, 14 back. Entering today, the wild card standings were wild. No pun intended. 3 teams tied for all 3 spots. Blue Jays, Rays, and Twins. All 34-23 with the Guardians half a game behind them. Standings brought to you by Bet365. Bases loaded, 2 down, and the pitch to Carlos Correa. Slider, called a strike. Perfect pitch on the corner. 0-1. Correa 1 for 3. A single, a strikeout, and a ground ball double play. 3-2 Twins, and the pitch. Slider again for a strike. Right on the outside edge, a little higher. 0-2. Braden Fisher is up for a second time today, starting to get loose. 0-2 pitch. Fastball high, missed a little too far up and outside. 1-2. High black on for Correa, almost connected by the black nasal strip across the front of his nose. He looks out to Green, the 1-2. Outside with the heater, yanked it. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Green licks his fingers, goes to his pants. Got 2 outs in the first 4 pitches he threw this inning. Now the base is loaded. Righty set at the chest, and it's 2-2. Fastball hit in the air out to right field. Barger's got a play on it. Moves to the left and makes the catch to end the inning. Chad Green flirts with a little danger, but no runs on 2 hits. 3 left on base, and it's a 3-2 ball game in favor of the Twins going to the 8th inning. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming on the Sportsnet app and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Halliburton has it pulling up and hitting. How many more times can this team do that?
When the sports world is talking, nobody gives you more perspectives than the experts of SiriusXM.
That is why you love sports.
Hear instant reaction on Mad Dog Sports Radio.
That was out of this world, out of a sports movie.
And expert analysis on NBA radio.
This is the ultimate group of professionals.
Live sports talk when you need it is on SiriusXM and the SiriusXM app.
Every night after the final out, the Round Trip Roundup brings you the scores, highlights, and analysis from every game across Major League Baseball, all in less than 30 minutes.
Swung on and missed strike 3 and a no-hitter.
It's the perfect way to get caught up on all the night's biggest home runs and best performances.
And a high drive, deep right center.
It's the Round Trip Roundup on MLB Network Radio every night on SiriusXM Channel 89 and every morning on the SiriusXM app.
Hello, children. I'm Alice Cooper. Rocco Mediate and I are talking golf, music, and more on Rolling the Rock.
Jake Trout and the Flounders.
Oh, sure, yeah.
They were pretty good, except for Payne Stewart. I said, Payne, you're one of the nicest people I've ever met. You are one of the worst harmonica players ever on the planet.
Listen to Rolling the Rock on PGA Tour Radio or anytime on the SiriusXM app. And you better listen, because we know where you live.
24/7, 365 coverage of all things NASCAR. All things NASCAR happens exclusively on SiriusXM NASCAR Radio, Channel 90.
Sportsnet Radio Network.
8th inning, Blue Jays at Target Field. Welcome to the Timbermart broadcast booth. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. Show Ali is our host, and he'll host Jays Talk with Nick Ashbourne following the game. Nick Blackmore is our producer, and Tom Young, our technical director. New pitcher into the game for the Twins. The hard-throwing right-hander Griffin Jacks takes over, with the Twins leading 3-2, top of the 8th. Pitch to Addison Barger, swing and a miss on a 92-mile-per-hour cutter. 0-1. Sweeper, change, four-seamer, sinker, cutter for Griffin Jacks. Can run it up to the high 90s, 0-1. Hit on a line left field, base hit, bouncing into the corner. Bangs off the side retaining wall. Barger hits the bag at first, heads into second with a leadoff stand-up double in the 8th.
Well, who else but Addison Barger takes that tough pitch on the outside part of the plate. It was a cutter, and he just drilled that thing over the third baseman. Royce Lewis tried to catch that baseball, just went over his glove. Addison Barger standing at second base with nobody out.
Rain is starting to come down at Target Field, and you never know. If they stop this game, it's already been an official game, so the Blue Jays got to get scoring in a hurry. Down 3-2, the pitch to George Springer is a check swing, tapper, foul, 0-1. And they're playing through a little rain, and you build an outdoor ballpark in Minneapolis, you're going to have to deal with some conditions sometimes. But less fans in the seats from what we've seen, and, programs over your head or getting your jacket over your head. 0-1 pitch rolled over foul, 0-2. Tying run for the Blue Jays in scoring position, nobody out. Now in an 0-2 hole, Blue Jays want Springer to just find a way to advance Addison Barger. A look to second by Jackson, the 0-2 in the dirt. Pitching change to Jacks is brought to you by Home Hardware, the official home improvement retailer for the Toronto Blue Jays, locally owned, genuinely Canadian. Righty's got a 4.33 ERA in 27 innings after pitching to a near 2 earned run average last year. His 1-2. Down and away, check swing by Springer, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Jacks has been much better recently, though. In April, he had a 7.15 ERA, 11 1/3 innings, 9 earned runs. But in May, he had a 1.32 ERA in 14 ball games.
2-2 pitch hit high, deep left field. Going back, Castro at the wall. It's gone! 2-run go-ahead shot for George Springer, and the Blue Jays take a 4-3 lead in the rain in the 8th inning. His 10th home run of the season and second in as many days. A massive blast for the Blue Jays, who lead again.
Well, how about that? He takes that hanging changeup from Griffin Jackson. He absolutely unloaded on that pitch. What a big swing, not only in this game, but in this season. George Springer is ecstatic in that dugout.
First pitch to Nathan Lucas, called a strike, 0-1. How good has he been this year? George Springer, maybe an all-star again. Next pitch cut on and missed by Lucas, 0-2.
My goodness. He needs to keep that jacket on.
It looks tailored to fit him, I will say. It fits him pretty good. 0-2 pitch. Low ball 1. It's a little big on Ernie, a little tight on Barger. But for George, the jacket is just right, and he's wearing it for the 10th time this season. Not just homers in each of the last 2 days, late, dramatic homers. 1-2. Fouled away. Really late swing by Lucas. Got a chunk of that sweeper, rolled it to the third base side.
And today, a big home run against a really tough pitcher. Griffin Jacks isn't having a great season overall, but like I was mentioning as he was swinging, he's been really good lately.
His last 20 outings, he had a 142. You had brought up the May numbers, really good. 1-2 pitch, swing and a miss, strike 3. Got Nathan Lucas on a power change there at 93. I mean, really good stuff. But the Blue Jays have been capitalizing on some mistakes recently, and that changeup to Springer was left up.
It was left up, but it was in, though. You could see that George Springer is able to get the hands through, get the barrel to that baseball. Not a tough pitch to hit out. Or, sorry, not an easy pitch to hit out.
Pitch to Ernie Clement is popped up foul out of play, 0-1. So the Blue Jays lead for the first time since the 4th inning when they gave up their 2-0 lead. Twins went up 3-2 in the 6th, but Toronto strikes back for 2 so far in the top of the 8th. 0-1 to Ernie. Hit on a line and caught at third. Fast reflexes for Royce Lewis, 2 down. With the Blue Jays up, let's go back over to the St. Louis Bar and Grill out-of-town scoreboard. Expect tough pitching when the Blue Jays go to St. Louis. After shutting out the Dodgers yesterday, it's 0-0 between the Cardinals and the Dodgers today. Eric Fetty was really good, and maybe a breakout of sorts for St. Louis. Steven Matz, the former Blue Jay, a scoreless inning in 2/3 of relief. He's been great this year. Pitch to Andres Jimenez, swing and a miss on a pitch just low, ball 1. All of our out-of-town scores brought to you by St. Louis Bar and Grill. Again, 0-0, Dodgers, Cardinals. Blue Jays go to St. Louis on Monday. 0-1. Low, 1 ball, 1 strike. Also, we should just mention, because we mentioned earlier he was selected, Craig Kimbrell was actually DFA'd by the Braves today. Unfortunately, did not get into a game. 1-1. Jimenez checks his swing on a pitch low, 2 balls, 1 strike. Two outs and the bases empty. 4-3 for the Blue Jays. Top of the 8th inning. Jax kicks and offers. And the pitch is rolled over towards first. Jimenez slams down the bat as France picks up the grounder, goes to first base, and ends the inning. Toronto takes the lead. Leadoff double by Barger. 2-run blast to left from George Springer, his 10th of the year. Makes it Blue Jays 4, Twins 3, middle of the 8th inning. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Buck Martinez here to tell you about the huge Double XL free topping pizza from Pizza Pizza, just $19.99. That's a whopping 18-inch 3-topping thing of beauty for only $19.99. So hurry into Pizza Pizza today and bring a big appetite for a hot and fresh Double XL pizza. I'm loving this big voice. I may just call the game this way.
Go to pizzapizza.ca. Knock all your summer projects out of the park with Home Hardware, the official home improvement retailer of the Toronto Blue Jays and your DIY partner in making your dream home a reality. From gardens to garages, back decks to front doors, refreshes and renos, we're here to help you cover all your bases and make every summer project a home run. Visit any of our 1,000+ Home Hardware and Building Center locations, where we're proud to be locally owned and genuinely Canadian.
Sportsnet Plus is the streaming home of the Blue Jays.
Oh, what a catch!
Stream over 150 Blue Jays games all season long.
You won't see this anywhere else.
Including pre- and post-game coverage with Jamie and Joe on Blue Jays Central.
One of the best in the game right here.
Watch all the Blue Jays action wherever you are, at home or on the go.
Don't you love baseball?
Plans start from $24.99 a month.
We are good to go.
Subscribe at sportsnetplus.ca.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Barrios retires 7 in a row.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Welcome back to Blue Jays baseball. Alongside Chris LaRue, I'm Ben Schulman. Bottom of the 8th inning, and the Blue Jays lead again. 2-run shot by George Springer makes it 4-3 as Braden Fisher steps onto the hill. His pitch to Matt Wallner. Breaking ball, called a ball, probably had the top of the zone, 1-0. Pitching change brought to you by Home Hardware, the official home improvement retailer for the Toronto Blue Jays, locally owned, genuinely Canadian. 1-0. Breaking ball again, freezes Wallner, called strike. Braden Fisher with a 4.22 ERA. This is his 10th appearance, although that ERA inflated by a tough opener outing. 1-1 pitch popped up foul, 1-2. When used as a traditional reliever, he is not allowed to run yet.
Yeah, he's been good. Even in his last outing against a very tough Philadelphia Phillies lineup, 1 inning, 1 hit, 3 punchies. He's been really, really solid this season in his limited action.
It's got 2 breaking balls, slider and curveball, plus a 4-seam fastball in the mid to upper 90s. Big spot for the rookie is 1-2. Breaking ball chopped on the ground, foul, first base side. Fisher's a big dude, 6'4", 180 pounds, from League City, Texas. Is 1-2. Here's a curveball popped up, back behind the plate, into the netting. Still a ball and 2 strikes.
Hasn't thrown a fastball yet. He does have a very good fastball, 95 to 97 miles an hour from the right side. Staying away from it right now, though.
1-2. Curveball cut on and missed. Strike 3. Beautiful pitch. Started at the middle of the zone. Dropped below it near the ankles. 1 out.
Well, you can see why he's staying away from that fastball. That thing was gross. Matt Wallner just swings right over the top of it. A big out in this inning. This is a really high leverage for Braden Fisher, and when a young pitcher comes into a ball game like this, I'm sure that as a manager you just hope that he fills up the strike zone, and Braden Fisher is doing exactly that.
First pitch to Ty France, swing and a miss at the slider, 0-1. Unless I'm missing one, I mean this has got to be the highest leverage spot Fisher's pitched in at the major league level. This is 8th inning, up 1. 0-1 pitch high, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, not only up by 1 in the 8th, but the Jays just fought their way back. Right. So that makes it even more high leverage.
Right. He was warming up. They were down. And his warm-up might have changed a little bit after George Springer hit a homer right beside him. 1-1. Breaking ball hit on the ground. Diving stop at third. Clement gets up, tosses to first. 2 outs. Ernie Clement gets a point from Vladdy. Vlad's got gold on his glove. Ernie might pretty soon.
Well, not only did he dive for that ball, made the play, he gets up, little sidearm flip throw to first base right to the chest of Vladimir Guerrero Jr. So smooth over there. All kinds of swag.
Big smile from the rookie Braden Fisher, who appreciates that one. 2 down, bottom of the 8th, 4-3 Blue Jays. Pitch to Royce Lewis. Foul tip, 0-1. We talked about this maybe 2 games ago. Ernie seems to have a really good idea of who he is. He doesn't necessarily have a cannon, but he quick transfers and just gets rid of it as fast as possible. 0-1. Curve for a strike, 0-2.
I honestly don't know how you become good at throwing the baseball like that. A little sidearm flip across the diamond. Obviously he works on that, but
he's one of these freak hand-eye guys. 0-2. Ball hit on the ground is short. Bichette ranges to his left, tosses over to first, and gets Lewis to end the inning. Job well done, Braden Fisher, with some help from his infield defense. He pitches a 1-2-3, bottom of the 8th. We go to the 9th with the Blue Jays leading 4-3. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming on the Sportsnet app and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
The Stanley Cup Final is on Sirius XM. Can the Florida Panthers repeat as champions?
He scores, and the Panthers are back in front.
Or will the Edmonton Oilers end Canada's 3-decade-long Stanley Cup drought?
3-on-1, Connor McDavid, right circle, dishes, gets it back and scores.
Hear the home and away broadcast of every game on Sirius XM in the car and the Sirius XM app. And talk about the quest for the Cup on NHL Network Radio, Channel 91.
Baseball is back. It's former general manager Jim Duquette, and every Sunday on the front office, we have you covered on everything happening across Major League Baseball.
That's right, Duke. It's former big league GM Jim Bowden. Injuries, extensions, promotions, demotions, and trades. We'll have you covered on all the news.
We'll bring you the front office perspective as the season heats up.
Front office with Jim Duquette and Jim Bowden, Sundays at 10 a.m. Eastern on MLB Network Radio, Channel 89, and on the Sirius XM app.
No one brings you the passion of the beautiful game quite like SiriusXM FC.
Would you believe this?
Whether it's live matches from the EPL, MLS, the NWSL, or the UEFA Champions League.
This is sensational!
Or live talk shows featuring the sport's most entertaining experts.
You don't get to say, I don't feel like making that play right now. You make the play.
It's the world of soccer at your fingertips.
How mouth-watering is that?
SiriusXM FC, channel 157 in the car, and streaming on the SiriusXM app.
From in-season fantasy baseball management to helping you prepare for your fantasy football drafts, Fantasy Sports Radio is helping you dominate. Channel 87 and on the Sirius XM app.
Radio Network.
This copyrighted broadcast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership or the Sportsnet Radio Network. Yohan Duran is into the game for the Twins. They bring on their closer, despite the fact that the Blue Jays have the lead. It's 4-3 for Toronto. Duran will face 8-9-1, Clase leading off for Toronto. Duran, one of the hardest throwers in the game. Looks into the switch hitter batting left, Clase. The wind and the pitch. Fastball at 99 with some arm side runs. Strike one.
He's always fun to watch, isn't he?
Oh, yeah. Up until Mason Miller came in, he was the hardest thrower in the game. 0-1. Swing and a foul off. Or no, that ball is threatening to stay fair, and it's going to drop down just foul. Willie Castro took a circuitous route, actually banged into the sidewall. I think the wind was swirling that ball a little bit. Clase thought it was foul, and then he took off. And it did land foul, but it didn't land in the seats. Clase gets an extra life as that one drops onto the dirt.
Well, let's hope that Willie Castro is okay. That left leg banged into that short wall out there in foul territory. He seems to be okay.
He gave a thumbs up back to the Twins, a guy who's already been on the IL this year with an oblique strain. Duran averages 100 on his four-seamer. Hard splitter, curve, and sweeper as well. Righty's two-strike pitch. Fastball at 101, hit away foul. Into the seats down the left field line out of play. You go back 2 seasons to 2023. He averaged a Major League best 101.8 on his fastball, averaging 102. His 0-2 pitch. Called low. That's 98 on the inside corner, and he should have the strikeout right now. Instead, it's 1-2.
His second pitch of the ball game of this outing was a split finger, 97 miles an hour.
Yeah. He throws the hardest split in the game. Average is 98. 1-2 is low. That was a splitter at 98. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
I don't know how you lay off that pitch. A really good take from Jonathan Clase.
I don't even know how you throw that. Felix Bautista has a splitter. He throws almost as hard as Duran. His splitter's 91. Landing spot issue for Duran, it seems. But actually, they have the training staff out there talking to Yohan Duran, I should say, who maybe just looked a little awkward landing on that pitch.
Well, let's hope that that's the case. I mean, he just gave the thumbs up, so hopefully everything's okay.
You know what? His left foot, the landing foot, it kind of wobbled. Looked like maybe there was a bit of a side-sloping hill, and so he just fell off awkwardly. He was kicking around the landing spot, and yeah, I think he's all right. He was just more concerned about the mound, really, than his own body. Yohan Duran is in a ninth inning. That's brought to you by Pizza Pizza. Get a huge 18-inch double XL 3-topping pizza for just $19.99. Bigger slices, bigger bites, only at Pizza Pizza, actually Canadian. 2-2 count to Clase in the pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Tight knuckle curve at 88. Tough matchup for a young guy in Clase. He strikes out swinging. 1 out.
My goodness. Coming into this ball game, Duran had a .95 ERA in 29 ball games, and that's why. His stuff is disgusting.
He gave up a run in his first outing of the season, and he's given up 2 earned runs since. His pitch to Tyler Heineman, called a strike.
The strikeout rate, though, isn't as high as you would think. 34 strikeouts this year in 28 2/3 innings. Sorry, 35 now, I guess, since the Jonathan Clase strikeout.
0-1 pitch, swing and a miss at a 97.5 mile per hour splitter. 0-2. I mean, he's still about 11 per 9, but 2023 he was closer to 12 per 9. But he's one of the best in the game. 1 out, base is empty. 4-3 Blue Jays, the 0-2. Heineman checks his swing on a breaking ball in the dirt. Appeal to third. No swing. Confirms Jordan Baker, the third base umpire. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Who would you rather watch pitch, Duran or Aroldis Chapman?
Ooh, right now?
Right now.
Duran.
Okay.
Right now. 10 years ago.
Although Chapman still has good stuff.
He does. 1-2. Swinging a ground ball. Third base side, and it rolls through into left field. A base hit. 101 on the four-seamer was not too much for Heineman. He bounces it in between the bag and Royce Lewis, and he's got his 3rd hit today.
Well, you can bet that Tyler Heineman knew Royce Lewis was shaded towards second base, almost playing in that hole on the left side, so there was a lot of room between the third baseman and the third base bag, and Tyler Heineman just kind of filleted it the other way on the ground. Oh, my goodness. He is so hot.
It is unbelievable what he is doing, basically batting once a week. Pitch to Bo Bichette, outside, ball 1.
Do you want to know what his average is now?
Can I guess?
You probably already saw it.
No, I didn't.
Okay, yeah, sure.
434?
429.
Oh, man. Time asked for by Bichette. Duran still delivers to the plate. He looked in for a while. Time was called before the motion, but you also understand Duran was right about to go. So he soft-tossed in a splitter at only 93. Pitch doesn't count, though. It's a 1-0 count right now to Bo Bichette. Blue Jays up 4-3. They'd love to add. 1-0. Bouncing ball hit to shortstop. Charging in Correa. His only play is first, and he tosses over there on a line. Up to second goes Heineman, 2 down.
Like you said, the Jays would love to add. I'm sure Jeff Hoffman would love to come into this ball game with a 2-run lead. Then you could just pound the strike zone and not worry about a game-tying home run.
I mean, everyone always loves to add, but the Twins have scored late runs in this game. They got a late run in yesterday's game. Can never be too sure. Runner on second, 2 down. The pitch to Vlad Guerrero Jr. Swing and a miss at a sweeper outside. 0-1. Not a pitch that Vlad has been fooled on often this season, but he's also gearing up for 101, so kind of understand it. The 0-1. They go back to the breaking ball. Check swing by Guerrero, who makes a good adjustment there to hold up. 1 ball, 1 strike. One for 4 day for Vlad. A single should score a run with Heineman on second. 2 outs, top of the 9th. Duran stepped off. Now he's back onto the rubber and looking in at Guerrero. The 1-1. Fastball hit on the ground through the whole left side, a base hit into left field. Wave given to Heineman. The throw from Castro offline. RBI single for Vlad, who scoots up to second on the throw. And it's 5-3 Blue Jays in the top of the ninth.
Well, I don't know what Duran was thinking there with that pitch. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. looked really bad on two straight sweepers. Sorry, the first sweeper. And then he throws that split finger right down the middle. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. all over it, hammers that thing through the hole on the left side. Tyler Heineman comes in to score a big run in this ballgame.
It was an aggressive wave from Carlos Fablis, but a massive run. They were willing to take the risk and test the arm of Castro. Now the pitch to Addison Barger is low ball 1.
Oh, you have to take the risk there, especially with Duran on the mound. He doesn't give up much.
Castro, a utility guy, not necessarily known for his arm. 1-0 to Barger. Breaking ball high, 2 balls, no strikes. How about this matchup? Power on power. Barger and Duran with a runner on second.
You think he'll get a fastball here?
2 straight curves, so I lean that way. Although the splitter's basically a fastball too. They set up inside, 2-0. Eater misses up top at 100. 3 balls, no strikes. First base is open, but George Springer's on deck. He hit a 2-run homer last inning. 5-3 Blue Jays top of the ninth. And the 3-0. Called to strike, 100 elevated. Just clipped the top of the zone, 3-1.
I would have loved to have seen Addison Barger swing at that pitch. 100 in the strike zone, at the top of that strike zone. That's a pitch that he annihilates.
3-1. Swing and a grounder, headed to second. Backing up, Clemens fields on the outfield grass and throws to first to end the inning. Blue Jays get an add-on run against Duran. Single by Heineman is cashed in by the single by Vladdy. They leave one on, but lead 5-3, middle of the ninth inning. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Decking isn't just about wood. It's about creating the perfect outdoor retreat, and it all begins with the right materials. Essentials you always find at Trex, the leader in composite decking for over 30 years. Sustainable, durable, beautiful. Trex isn't just decking, it's a lifestyle. From homeowners to pros, everyone knows Trex delivers unmatched quality. Ready to transform your backyard into a dream space? Find Trex at Timbermark, Canada's building center, where your outdoor vision comes to life.
Buck Martinez here to tell you about the huge Double XL free topping pizza from Pizza Pizza, just $19.99. That's a whopping 18-inch 3-topping thing of beauty for only $19.99. So hurry into Pizza Pizza today and bring a big appetite for a hot and fresh Double XL pizza. I'm loving this big voice. I may just call the game this way.
Order pizzapizza.ca.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Another screaming flex from Hoffman.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Welcome back to Blue Jays Baseball. Show Adley with you. The Blue Jays lead the Twins 5-3 as we head to the bottom of the ninth inning at Target Field. Don't forget, we do have Jays Talk this afternoon. Nick Ashbourne is here at Baseball Control with me. He and I have the post-game show. I'll throw out the numbers to call after the final out. You can text us as well. 590-590, name and location. The People's text line is always open. Standard data and messaging rates may apply. Blue Jays Baseball, as always, brought to you by Crown Rust Protection. The Jays are enjoying a 5-3 lead over the Twins. Bottom 9 at Target Field. Can they close it out? Let's find out with Ben Schulman and Chris LaRue.
Thank you very much, Joe. Like you said, Blue Jays 5 and the Twins 3. Some defensive changes for Toronto and a new pitcher. Closer Jeff Hoffman comes on for a second straight night after he struck out 3 in a save yesterday. Right-hander deals home, and Cody Clemens takes a backdoor slider for strike 1. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. Pitching change brought to you by Home Hardware, the official home improvement retailer for the Toronto Blue Jays, locally owned, genuinely Canadian. Hoffman's 0-1. Fastball misses up top. This is Hoffman's 29th appearance of the season, 14 saves. Yesterday in his 28th appearance, we saw a lot of fastballs from the righty. 1-1. Fastball fouled back, 95 elevated. A point out from Heineman. It's 1-2.
Just fill that strike zone up. You can bet that Tyler Heineman said, hey, let's fill it up. Until somebody gets on base, we're throwing strikes here.
John Schneider had mentioned he liked the fastballs from Heineman. He thought he was pitching to the game. You're up by 2, so don't worry too much and make them earn it to get on base. Gets the bottom third of the order, up by 2 again today. 1-2 to Clemens. Fastball popped up. Foul, third base side, into the seats, out of play.
We actually talked about that during the broadcast yesterday. I said pitch to the scoreboard. John says pitch to the game. Same thing. You pitch to, if you have a 2-run lead and there's nobody on base, just fill the strike zone up.
1-2 count, nobody out. Bases are empty. The pitch. Splitter that time hit foul. First splitter he's thrown after 3 four-seamers in a row. Defensive changes are the same for the Blue Jays today as yesterday. 1-2 pitch is hit high, deep right field, and that ball is gone. Cody Clemens caught a fastball at the top of the zone, hits it out for his 6th home run of the season, and it's a 1-run ball game. 5-4 for the Blue Jays, bottom 9.
Well, Jeff Hoffman missed his spot by a little bit. Tyler Heineman was set up on the outside part of the plate, but it's not that big of a deal. There's 2-run lead. Cody Clemens hits a solo shot to right field, and now you bear down. Now you have to make good pitches.
It was not his worst pitch. It was up there in the strike zone. Clemens got around it, maybe a little further out over the plate than they wanted. And that makes it really important now that the Blue Jays got that add-on run in the top of the 9th on the Vladdy RBI single. Heineman goes out to talk to the right-hander, Jeff Hoffman.
I also think that if they didn't get that run, he might not have thrown that pitch in that situation.
Sure.
So sometimes the pitch and the selection and all that stuff would not have been the same.
By the way, the defensive changes for the Blue Jays, just like yesterday, Barger is lifted. Into the game comes Miles Straw. Straw to play center. Place bumps from center to left, and Lucas from left to right. 1-run game. Willie Castro's up. Nobody out, and the pitch from Jeff Hoffman. Check swing on a fastball in. Appeal down to third, no swing, ball 1. Schneider had mentioned it's a tough decision to take Addison Barger out because they like him out there, but they do prefer a natural outfielder out there, and they get that with Straw. 1-0. Swing and a miss at a splitter in the dirt, 1-1.
Willie Castro was sitting dead red there. Guys, a lot of power, 4 homers in his last 7 games. Swings over the top of that good split finger from Jeff Hoffman.
Couple multi-homer games recently for the switch hitter batting left. 1-1. Splitter again, swing and a miss, 1-2. Those are 2 of the better splitters we've seen from Hoffman since the opening month of the season. When he's at his best, he has a feel for and can use all 3 pitches, but at times in the month of May, the splitter floated into the zone and was a problem. 1-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Got him to whiff on the slider in the dirt. Tag applied by Heineman, who picked the ball, and there's 1 out.
And Tyler Heineman is so active back there. Before Jeff Hoffman threw that slider that he bounced just behind home plate, you could see Tyler Heineman pointing at the dirt, making sure that Jeff Hoffman knows to get that pitch in the dirt. What a good job back there from a veteran catcher.
Big first out after the leadoff homer by Clemens. Pitch to Harrison Bader. Fastball outside, ball 1. Hoffman froze Bader looking yesterday on a fastball. Clearly, it seemed the outfielder was sitting on something else. 1-0. Fastball popped up, foul, and out of play, first base side, or rather third base side over the dugout. Bader's 1 for 3 with a double today. He represents the tying run in the game. The pitch. In the dirt, bounced the slider in front of home, 2-1. Right on right matchup, and time is going to be asked for. Not exactly sure what happened, but Chad Whitson was tapping his chest saying it was my bad. I think there might have not been a clock reset or something like that. But seems like it's all sorted out, and Bader steps back in. 2-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. Elevated heater, 2-2. Velocity's a tick down from yesterday for Jeff Hoffman. Understandable going back-to-back days. 2-2. Swing and a pop-up. Drifting out toward right center field. Strong coming in. It's Lucas taking charge to make the catch. The right fielder brings it in, and there are 2 down.
Velocity's a tick down, but that split finger's working today, so that's the difference maker in this outing so far. He's had that good split finger, throws that elevated fastball there to Harrison Bader. You can see he's a little bit frustrated, slamming the bat down. Probably thinks he should have done more with that pitch, but that's a good pitch, an elevated fastball from Jeff Hoffman.
2 outs, Trevor Larnach to hit. He homered yesterday. Today, he's got a single and a walk, 1 for 3. The pitch. Swing and a miss. Tight slider near the back foot. 0-1. Home run by Clemens to lead off this inning. Made it a 5-4 game. Blue Jays on top. 1 out from taking the series. 0-1 pitch. Backdoor slider just missed. 1 ball, 1 strike. It's been a really entertaining ball game. Blue Jays took an early lead. Twins came back and took the lead in the middle stages. Blue Jays jumped in front again, but Clemens' homer has made it interesting. 1-1. Swing and a fly ball. Left field. Going back, Clase puts his arms out, makes the catch in front of the track, and the Blue Jays win. It's a good day to be a Toronto Blue Jay, winning 5-4. They take the series, taking each of the first 2 from the Minnesota Twins.
Well, it wasn't Kevin Gausman's best start of the season, but he did just enough, giving the Blue Jays a quality start, 3 earned runs in his 6 innings. But how about George Springer coming up big yet again? Tyler Heineman having another good ball game. This was a great game all the way around for the Toronto Blue Jays.
Blue Jays win 5-4. We'll take a quick step aside when we wrap it up. Take you to Blue Jays Talk with Show Ali and Nick Ashbourne. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming on the Sportsnet app and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Knock all your summer projects out of the park with Home Hardware, the official home improvement retailer of the Toronto Blue Jays and your DIY partner in making your dream home a reality. From gardens to garages, back decks to front doors, refreshes and renos, we're here to help you cover all your bases and make every summer project a home run. Visit any of our 1,000+ Home Hardware and Building Center locations, where we're proud to be locally owned and genuinely Canadian.
At Crown Rust Control Center, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control Center is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Did you know spring's the best time of year to protect your vehicle from rust? For a special spring offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
Hi, this is Tyler Heineman, and you're listening to Toronto Blue Jays Baseball on the Sportsnet Radio Network.
The Blue Jays winners today. They win 5-4 over the Minnesota Twins in a great back-and-forth ball game. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. Thanks so much for tuning in to this one. Let's take a look back at the game, beginning with the starters. Chris Paddack versus Kevin Gausman, and we'll start with Gausman. Not his best start, not his worst start. He ends up giving the Blue Jays 6 innings on a day where they had a pretty thin bullpen. 4 hits, 3 earned runs. Got into a little trouble with command. 2 walks and a hit batter. Punches out 5. Took a no decision in this one. What did you think of Gausman overall?
Well, I thought he was fine. I didn't think this was his best start of the season. Like you said, he got into a little bit of trouble in the 4th inning when he gave up a couple of runs. But other than that, he gave the Blue Jays a chance to win. A quality start is a quality start. And George Springer came up big when he needed to. But Kevin Gausman, I think, was just good enough to allow the hot Blue Jays hitters to come through late in the ballgame.
Blue Jays got a couple runs early, but Chris Paddock really settled down, put together a nice start himself after giving up a run in the first and a Tyler Heineman homer in the second, third of Heineman's career and second of the season. He ended up pitching 4 more scoreless innings with only 1 single and 1 walk allowed. That put the Blue Jays in a spot where they needed hits off of a tough Twins bullpen. After Matt Wallner's home run off of Gausman in the 6th inning, it was 3-2 Twins. Blue Jays stayed behind 3-2 into the 8th inning, where Addison Barger led off with a double to Griffin Jacks, or off of Griffin Jacks down the left field line. Barger was the tying run, and up step to the plate, George Springer. 2-2 pitch hit high, deep left field. Going back, Castro at the wall. It's gone! 2-run go-ahead shot for George Springer, and the Blue Jays take a 4-3 lead in the rain in the 8th inning. His 10th home run of the season and second in as many days. A massive blast for the Blue Jays, who lead again.
Well, how about that? He takes that hanging changeup from Griffin Jacks, and he absolutely unloaded on that pitch. What a big swing. Not only in this game, but in this season. George Springer is ecstatic in that dugout. His 10th home run of the season, and it was a big, big spot with that run standing out at second base, the tying run. George Springer puts a good swing on a very tough pitch in on the black. I mean, not many guys can hit that ball out, and George Springer did in a big spot.
Huge home run for George Springer. Should mention also a massive run for the Blue Jays in the 9th inning. After getting 2 off of Jacks, one of the tougher setup guys in the game, they faced Yohan Duran and ended up getting a run off of him. A leadoff single by, of course, Tyler Heineman, or a 1-out single. And then after Heineman got into scoring position, Guerrero hit an RBI single, his second knock of the day. That made it 5-3, and the Blue Jays would need that insurance run as Jeff Hoffman got the save, but did allow a solo home run to Cody Clemens. 5-4, the final score in favor of the Blue Jays. They win the series to start this road trip, winning the first 2 against Minnesota. Toronto with 5 runs on 10 hits, no errors, 7 left. For Minnesota, 4 runs, 7 hits, no errors, 6 left on base. The win in relief for Chad Green. He goes to 2-1 on the season. The loss to Griffin Jacks. He is now 1-4. 15th save of the year for Jeff Hoffman. Game took 2.5 hours, just about 2 hours, 34 minutes, in front of about 23,500. With the Blue Jays win, they go to 35-29. The Twins are now 34-30. The Blue Jays holding the top wildcard spot in the American League. We will be back tomorrow for the series finale as the Blue Jays look for the sweep. Joe Ryan against Bowden Francis at 2:10 Eastern. Target Field in Minneapolis is the site of that game against Francis. Again, it's Francis against Ryan, 2:10 Eastern at Target Field. Appreciate you tuning in tonight. Hope you can join us then. For your technical director, Tom Young, producer Nick Blackmore, host Joe Ali, and my partner, Chris LaRue, I'm Ben Schulman. Have a great rest of your Saturday. We'll see you tomorrow, and stick around for a series-winning edition of Blue Jays Talk with Joe Ali and Nick Ashbourne that starts right now.
Well, Nick, I'll say this about the 2025 Toronto Blue Jays. You can never really count them out. I mean, win or lose, this is a team that, when you compare them to even just last year, they are basically in every single game. I mean, whether they're down by a little or a lot, I mean, there's a reason to watch or listen all the time, all the way to the end. And they did it again today. Their 19th comeback win of the season. Heineman features prominently. George Springer delivering the massive home run late. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. adding what we thought was an insurance run off of Yohan Duran, of all people, ended up being very important after all, considering it stood up as the game winner. A 5-4 win. Jays win the series. They are now 35-29. They are a season best 6 games above 500. Another comeback win for the Comeback Kings, it would seem.
Yeah, and that's not a description you would have used for this team earlier in the season when the offense was really depressed. And to be honest, when you started the year, you thought, Bo and Vladdy are guys who are going to be above average offensively, and the rest of the guys, You had a lot of defense-oriented players. You had guys like, Springer, obviously, great example. Someone who'd been sort of okay offensively for the last couple of years. Suddenly, Springer has been an offensive force in the middle of the lineup. This is a guy who started out hot, hit a bit of a dip. I think a lot of people believed that, okay, it was a hot start, whatever. He's going to go back to doing what he was doing. And now he's rebounded. He's got 5 home runs in his last 11 games. Barger is emerging. You're getting contributions. Heineman, we talked about before the game. You don't expect this from him. You can't expect this from anyone. He's hitting like Babe Ruth out there. It will end eventually. But, the Blue Jays can ride that hot bat while they can. Huge hits from him in this game. And on the pitching side, too, Gausman, quality start, not his best, but he kept them in the game. Braden Fisher, the biggest outing of his career, keeping that lead intact. And then, Hoffman at the end, again, not an outing he'll feel spectacular about, but got the job done.
That is Nick Ashbourne. I'm Show Ali. You're listening to Jays Talk on the Sportsnet Radio Network. We're also streaming on sportsnet.ca and on the Sportsnet app. You can give us a call, 416-870-0590, 1-888-666-0590, star 590 on your cell. You can text us as well, 590-590, name and location. The People's text line always open. Standard messaging and data rates may apply. Yeah, George Springer, 2-run bomb in the 8th. Second time in as many days that Springer has hit a home run, Nick. He now has 10 home runs and 27 RBI. I'm not quite sure that he would be an all-star in the American League. If you look at the production of a lot of the outfielders, only in the American League, and I mean, there's a lot of really outstanding results, certainly in the AL this year. But I'll say this, you are getting the best version of Springer now, certainly than you've gotten in a few weeks, because he started off, to your point, so hot, and then he cooled off, right? I mean, had he continued hitting the way he started the year, he'd be like the unanimous American League MVP, right? Like, that was never going to be ultra sustainable. But I think not only are you getting the best version of Springer that we've seen for about maybe like 3-4 weeks or so, but you're also getting, I think, one of the best versions of Springer I think you've seen in his time in Toronto, period. And I think the early tenure of Springer's time in TO was marred a little bit by injury, right? I mean, there was that point, especially after his first year, where every time he came down in center field, you kind of like held your breath a little to see if he was going to twist his ankle or something. But he's been pretty healthy the last couple of years, certainly this year, and he is really hitting the baseball really well. I've been very impressed by what Springer has been able to do. It seems, again, and I don't want to attribute it only to a new hitting coach or anything like that. I think it's a large part of it has to do with him himself, certainly, a guy who's had a lot of success as a major leaguer. But I mean, Springer has not been afraid to get to 2 strikes. He's been ambushing pitches, ambushing mistakes when pitchers do throw him meatballs. I mean, that's not something we had seen from Springer in the last couple of years.
When you think about a 35-year-old player, you generally assume, okay, we have seen the best of this guy. It is only about how much can he mitigate his decline, not that he's going to have a really, really strong season. And the story of his Blue Jays career, in terms of its trajectory, is that when he came out in 2021, when he was on the field, he was spectacular as a power threat, like truly one of the better power threats in the league, but there was difficulty staying healthy that season. And basically every year since then, the powers just get sapped a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. And that's kind of what happens to some guys as they get older, especially because it seemed like he was making an effort to keep the contact up, try and stay getting on base. Might have been a bit of a leadoff hitter mindset, to be honest, because that's the guy he'd been for the vast majority of his career. And then this season, what you see with him is that he's not so concerned about making sure the ball's in play no matter what. And he's not afraid to take the huge cut, even if it results in a whiff. Like, he has swung and missed significantly more than the average hitter this season. But it's not a problem, because when he connects, he's connecting and hitting the ball with authority. And that's a more interesting, more fun to watch, and more effective version of George Springer, the one who wants to swing from the heels, is not afraid to make mistakes, is not overly concerned about avoiding the strikeout at every turn, but is instead saying, these are pitches I can do damage on. I believe in myself. I'm backing myself. I'm giving it the best swing I've got. And you know what? If I end up walking back to the dugout, that's okay. It helps, too, that he's taking his walks and he's not chasing bad pitches. Like, that is a part of the story as well. But this power decline had been so prevalent for almost half a decade here, and he's really reversed it in a way that you can't help but be impressed with.
You brought up something really interesting, the idea that maybe the mindset he was going through while things were declining and he's figuring out how to navigate losing power as his career gets on, that maybe it's a part of being the top of the order mindset, just getting on base. And that's definitely something that he had to change, obviously no longer being the top of the order batter. But it's interesting too, because I think this year in particular, Nick, we're seeing him DH a little bit more. And it's good because, good in the sense that right now you can do that because there is no Varsho, there is no Santander. And I think Santander would also, when he is playing, when he's healthy, he would occupy some DH days, certainly. Other guys would as well. If you ever wanted to get Kirk and Heineman in there, that's something you could use. But Springer, I think, has seen a good chunk of DH spots this season. And I think when he's DHing, like I've had this conversation with other people in the sense that there are some players that I think need to be in the field in order to feel like they are in rhythm, right? In order to feel like they're their best selves at the plate. And I've heard that's the kind of player Santander is, for example, which is why we actually hadn't seen as many DH starts for Santander when healthy, of course, as maybe we expected when the signing happened in the offseason. Springer might kind of looking like he's the opposite, right? He's almost hitting better when he's a DH, which is funny because, again, like I'm not going to call it ideal because you'd rather have Santander and Varsho hit for you. But when you are putting Springer in the DH spot, you can kind of finagle a way to get all of Barger, Clement, and Jimenez and other people onto the field as well, because Springer's not quote unquote taking up a spot in right field. It's fascinating to see how he's changed as a DH because that's where he was today.
That idea of struggling to hit when you're a DH sounds counterintuitive, right? Because there is less work to be done. You are focusing only on being a hitter. Why wouldn't you hit better? You're better rested. You all have all the time in the world to study the pitcher, even in between innings. But what we've seen over time is that there's something called the DH penalty. Guys literally hit worse when they're DH in total. Now, there are some guys who adapt to the role and figure it out mentally and become very good at it. But generally speaking, guys hit worse than their average when they aren't in the field as well. So when you find a player who seems able to take that on mentally, it can be a really helpful and underrated thing for a team. Now, when Santander is back, I think the difference between Santander and Springer in terms of what they offer in the field, you'd like to have Springer taking those days in right field, and you'd like to have Santander DHing more, but they may come to find over time that Santander, as you kind of referred to, isn't as suited to that DH life, and they might have to take a bit of a sacrifice in right field defense at times to, fit these players into the positions that is best for them mentally, even when it might not seem ideal when you kind of count out the defensive value.
I think too, and Blair and Barker have talked about this a lot, but if you can get 2 of your 3 outfield spots, and ideally one of those spots is center field, but if you can get 2 of those 3 spots to be taken up by very sound defensive outfielders, I think you can, to a certain extent, take a little bit of a hit. Ideally, you'd take no hits, right? But if you have to sacrifice and play that game, then, I think, at least for now, Miles Straw and Nathan Lucas, both pretty defensively sound. Jonathan Clase takes some questionable routes out there, perhaps. I'm not sure worthy enough to get sent down, at least right now, but, probably going to happen at some point, especially when Varsho and Santander are both healthy. But, yeah, I think you can live with that trade-off if you had to put Santander in right field and DH Springer, for example, if you are still getting like Gold Glove caliber defense from Varsho or frankly Miles Straw, who's just as good, honestly, or just slightly worse if we're comparing, splitting hairs here. But I think that's probably a sacrifice the team would be willing to make, I'm guessing.
And if we zoom out a little bit, I think this discussion in itself goes to show how far this team has come, where we're talking about good players coming into the lineup and you're thinking, how do you move guys around? Right. How do you find at bats for people? Earlier in the season when Varsho was going to come back, the thought was like, just didn't need a bat. They need someone to come back. And Varsho is not some bat who is going to be the savior for your lineup, although he's been very good when healthy this season. But the fact that we're talking about moving all these pieces around goes to show that, when they get Santander back, when they get Varsho back, and assuming Santander is going to be better than he was earlier in the season, which feels like a fair assumption just because he set a low bar, it will be intriguing to see how they move all these pieces around the outfield, because most of the guys they have are hitting pretty well right now. Like there really aren't holes in the lineup. Jimenez, you could argue, but that's a little bit baked into his skill set. And whether it's an outfield or around the infield, the idea that it's tricky to find playing time and at-bats for people and that fitting people is a problem is just an indication that this position player group has come a long way.
416-870-0590, 1-888-666-0590, star 590 on your cell. You can text us as well, 590-590, name and location. I'll go to the text line in a sec, but let's kick things off on the phones, Nick. Let's go to Nova Scotia and chat with Bob. Bob, welcome to Jays Talk. What's on your mind?
Hi, that was a great win, but I just want to talk about one thing. Ryan Yarbrough, I think, was a major mistake by trying to let him go at the start of the year. He's got a 2.83 ERA. And he's starting for the New York Yankees. How good would he look in a Blue Jay uniform right now?
Yeah, sure, Ryan. Bob, I appreciate the call on Ryan Yarbrough. Thanks for joining us. I admit, like after a win like this, Ryan Yarbrough was not what I thought we were going to be talking about. I understand the thought process though, because it would certainly solve. At least in theory, it would solve this issue that we're talking about when it comes to the 4-5 spots. And I mean, we talked about it a little bit yesterday. We're going to probably talk about it, win or lose. I think you're going to talk about it a little bit tomorrow because Bowden Francis is going tomorrow. And I'm not saying like you're counting that as a loss, just in the sense that he has struggled. And unless he like really turns it around, you're still going to be talking about it. But yeah, I mean, Ryan Yarbrough has turned around. He had a really rough start, if I remember right. So that he even has an ERA that starts with a 2, I think is very impressive for him. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I think the bullpen issue, the bullpen days they've been able to win, maybe that's not quite as sustainable, and having Yarbrough would help with that. But I don't know. It's not quite, I admit, super high on my list of concerns. I admit, Nick.
The combination of Lauer and Paxton Schultz have kind of approximately given you what Yarbrough's given you. Now, that doesn't mean that having Yarbrough would be a problem. He is the sort of guy, he can give you a spot start. He can give you 4 innings in relief. He's got that rubber arm. Last season, he got 98.2 innings out of the bullpen, which is just an incredibly impressive number in today's MLB. He's probably an underappreciated player, to be honest, because he really doesn't throw hard, because he doesn't miss bats. He's just not valued by MLB teams that highly. And, credit to the Yankees. They scooped him up and he's played a useful role for them. But I don't think he's a star player who's moving the needle too much in terms of the fortunes of the team, especially when you consider that the Jays have gotten good work from the bullpen and good work from long relievers in general. Now, yeah, the 2 spots in the rotation outside of Gausman, Barrios, and Bassett are an issue, and they're going to continue to be an issue until there's either an internal option, whether that's Scherzer getting healthy, Manoah later in the season, or something that happens externally. Like, it's not an acceptable state of affairs you would want to head into the playoffs with, for instance, but at the same time, I think over the course of the season, you believe things are going to change there.
416-870-0590, 1-888-666-0590, star 590 on your cell. Let's go back to the phones. Let's go to Rich in Fort Erie. Rich, welcome to Jays Talk. What's on your mind?
Hey, I was just wondering. I know Guerrero's playing great at first base, but I don't know. I think he should be dropped down a couple spots.
What are you thinking? Like, where would you put him?
I don't know, 4th or 5th. I don't know.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, like, I appreciate the call.
Some of them, some other guys hitting good, and I don't know. It's probably just me, but I think he should move down a bit.
Rich, appreciate the call. Thanks a lot. Hey, look, you know what? I will say when he said dropping down in the order, I thought Rich was going to say, like, we need a Vladdy, like 8th or something, which obviously is not going to happen. I don't think there's a terrible case to be made for Vladdy batting like 4th, for example, right? I don't think we've seen him bat a ton of cleanup in his career. I know a lot of people have texted in before, Nick, to say that like the optimal batting spot for Vladdy, depending on how much you believe in these kinds of things, is not 2nd, but 3rd. And I can get behind seeing that. I don't think it's going to make personally like the biggest of differences. But yeah, I personally probably wouldn't bat Vladdy lower than cleanup, but I'm curious what you think.
Honestly, it's really a philosophical question about how much do you want to prioritize what people are doing this second, right, and how much do you want to prioritize what guys are capable of doing or their kind of overall talent level. Because in my view, there's no doubt that he is the most talented hitter in the lineup. He is not performing as the best hitter in the lineup this season yet. Honestly, a couple weeks, a torrid stretch where he hits a few home runs, it would not take long. Like his overall stats are good. They're not unbelievable.
Right.
Like it's been not as much power as you'd like, right? Like that is a complaint about Vladdy that people have, and it is a valid complaint. The second spot in the order is where you want to put your best hitter. That is a conventional wisdom, and he is not their best hitter right now. But the contract they handed him is a pretty strong indication they see him as their best hitter, and I think his career track record also says that. So I would be inclined to be patient with him, but I understand that in this moment he might not feel as imposing just because that's not what he's been so far this season. But I think it's going to come around.
I do think too, and again, the result turns at the end to the point where the insurance runoff of Durant ends up being quite important, right? And we can talk about Jeff Hoffman a little later on the pitching side of that equation. But top of the 7th inning, Jimenez gets on with a single. Clase strikes out. Heineman gets on again. We should talk about Heineman because, man, what a game he had. But Bo and Vladdy come up. So they have 1 out and 2 on, 1 out, right? Top of the 7th inning. You're trailing at this point because this is pre-George Springer bomb, which can't happen in the following inning. Bo strikes out swinging. He's deemed to have gone around, so he walks back to the dugout. And Vladdy comes up, and in 2 pitches, he weakly grounds out to Carlos Correa. And I think in that moment, even here in the studio, I turned to you and said, "Oh boy, that's a tough look." We're going to get some calls and comments about that today, and we have. And I'm not saying Rich is incorrect by any means to not feel ultra confident in Vladdy. I tend to believe, like you, that it will come, but I do think this is these kinds of discussions are just gonna happen when you get paid hundreds of, I know it doesn't kick in until next year, but hundreds of millions of dollars. And the CEO of Rogers comes out at your press conference and says the ROI on this is winning a World Series because we believe in this guy, right? And I think that's that, whether it's fair or not, carries higher expectations. And I think it's magnified when, Heineman has a monster home run in a game, and Springer, an aging Springer, is having one of his better seasons in years. And, you're getting contributions, pretty consistent contributions from the bottom of the order. Bo is coming around. I mean, Bo, I say he's coming around. Bo is leading the team in RBI, right? So, I think when all of these things are happening and you're not getting that also from the guy who's getting paid the most by a lot on the club, I can understand these kinds of discussions.
He is the face of the franchise, and he has not only been not their best overall player, because it's difficult for him as a first baseman to sometimes be that when guys are making the two-way contribution. We talked before the game about Alejandro Kirk, for instance. When Alejandro Kirk is hitting .350 for a month and also one of the best defensive catchers in the world, it's just really hard for a first baseman to match that overall value. So there'll be times when Vladdy isn't the most valuable individual player, but he is the most valuable hitter. He needs to be that over the course of this contract. And there might be some seasons where he doesn't reach that standard, but he needs to do it consistently. And right now, he isn't the best hitter on the team, as I said, and he hasn't been particularly close. Springer, for instance, has been significantly better than him. And so those expectations will weigh on him a little bit. That spotlight will be on him, and people are going to hold him to a high standard. If he was a rookie doing what he's doing now, people would say, wow, great hitter. He's getting on base all the time and smashing line drives everywhere. What a fantastic player to have. And he makes acrobatic plays at first base. Great. But again, with the context of the contract, with the context of the fact that they are building explicitly around him, which is a bit controversial, to be honest, based on his position, the bar is higher than what he's shown so far. But we're also not that deep into the season. I think even superstar players can have a couple months where they are more good than great, and that's just what we're seeing from Vladdy right now.
416-870-0590, 1-888-666-0590, star 590 on your cell. Let's go to Burlington. Kyle joining us in Burlington. Kyle, welcome to Jays Talk. What's on your mind?
Hey, boys. First time, long time. I just wanted to get on here and give George Springer a shout out because... Sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
To get a couple an all-star season out of him and then have the decline, but seeing him hit hard hit percentage at 49.6% right now, right around 50%. Super impressive. Best of his career so far. I know it's not even halfway through the season, so we expect it to go down a little bit, but super happy for him. Really excited about it. And I'll be the first one to apologize about it. Let's go, George.
Hey, Kyle, appreciate the call. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, we were talking about Springer earlier, Nick. I do wonder what the future holds for Springer, right? Because I remember having this conversation it was during spring training. Just with, we took some calls and we did Jays Talk during the spring, and Springer did have a pretty hot spring campaign as well. But I remember having these conversations even before, when all the signings are happening in the off season, and people are kind of wondering what can you do with Springer? And I feel like we're just so far away from those discussions now. We were having discussions, especially when he cooled off just a couple weeks ago, oh man, could the Jays eat his contract in the offseason to free up some money? I mean, we're worlds away, it feels like, from that conversation. And again, to Kyle's point, I mean, there's a lot of baseball left. The peaks and valleys of the season are pretty high, and sometimes they're pretty far in between. So maybe we get back to that at some point. But right now, it feels like we're way far away from that.
There's always been, I think, the team leaning in on Springer as opposed to leaning out. Obviously, a huge part of that is the contract, but also he's a good ambassador for the team. He's considered to be a respected veteran, a good clubhouse guy. I think that even as he has struggled a little bit, the team has seen a certain amount of value in him that you can't necessarily measure in terms of what he does on the field. But it's hard to make that argument when a guy starts creeping into his middle 30s and you don't necessarily see him as a starting caliber everyday player anymore. And that's the direction he seemed to be going. He seemed to be going towards being a guy who had, average ability at the plate at best. And I'm talking over a 2-year span, right? It's not just something that happened a couple months. Average ability at the plate, and then getting older and his ability to field was kind of only going to decline. And at a certain point, even if you're paying a guy a lot of money, and even if you like what he brings to the clubhouse, rolling him out as an everyday player just doesn't make sense. And if he had really, really struggled this season a couple months in, but the team had been looking to compete, there might have been an argument, like you said, for eating his contract, trying to ship him out somewhere, I don't know, maybe to a younger team that was willing to take some of his contract and a mid-level prospect or something like that just to get off of it. And the idea of getting off a George Springer contract right now, again, just doesn't make any sense, because he's been arguably the team's best hitter, and his power threat right now is a big deal for a lineup that hasn't struggled to hit home runs lately, but still is not exactly full of 30-plus home run sluggers.
590 name and location is the People's text line. I think we've waited long enough to talk about Tyler Heineman, and
too long.
I would agree with you. And I see here, so a couple of texts on Heineman. Okay, so David, North Vancouver, Tyler Heineman to the All-Star game? ? Brad in Nova Scotia on the other side of Canada. There was chatter today about the biggest surprise on the Jays. It was a tie for me between Straw and Heineman. I think I'll give the nod to Heineman. I expected absolutely zero from him this year. This is a bonus. Saves Kirk in the process. Every other position has depth. Catcher, not so much. And Derek in Strathroy says, Cal Raleigh, who? That's pretty good. I do like it. Look, I mean, I'll say this for Tyler Heineman. I mean, we spent... You know what? I won't attribute this to you. I'll attribute this only to me. I spent about 5 to 6 minutes on the pregame show today detailing how a bunch of Heineman's production is unsustainably lucky. And then in his first plate appearance today, he comes up there and just blasts an absolute bomb. I mean, this is a guy before this year, Nick, who had one career home run, I think, prior to this year. And he has 2 this year alone. Now, I know that's not a lot. Don't get me wrong. We're still talking about a backup catcher this year. But, I mean, gosh, in games he has now played, because obviously he doesn't play all the time, he has now actually had multiple hits in each of the last 3 games in which he has gotten a start. That's honestly incredible for a guy who's a career backup catcher. Well done by Heineman.
It's pretty incredible. He deserves all the credit in the world. Again, will this hold up? No, but mainly in the sense that no one is this good, right? He's hitting .429 after this game. He's got an OPS well over...
Move over Johnny Bench.
Yeah, he's got an OPS well over 1,000. Move over Babe Ruth. This is some of the best numbers you can imagine in an era where it's pretty hard to get hits. And he's thrown out more than half the base runners who've tried to steal against him as well. And he's done all the things you expected him to do. You expected him to be a solid veteran catcher who would know the staff, block the plate, throw the ball. That's what you were paying his very minimal salary for, was to do those baseline things. And literally anything he gave you with the bat, you say, thank you very much. That's fantastic. And he has given them so much more than they really ever could have reasonably imagined. And just, it's a ton of credit to him. I mean, I don't know if you can even credit the ball club for identifying that he might do something like this, because even if you ask them, put Truth Serum and Ross Atkins and say, what kind of offensive season are you expecting out of Tyler Heineman in 2025? I think he would have told you something extremely modest modest, and what he's done is not even remotely modest. It's hard to know the words for it. It will even out. It will not last to a certain extent, but you can't take away from the guy what he's done. And what he's done has been by far the best backup catcher in baseball and one of the better catchers overall in terms of value, just because the offense is so dramatic.
Yeah, he's batting after today. He's batting .429, and he has an OPS well over 1,000. I mean, that's crazy, Nick. Right? And again, I tend to believe it's not sustainable, mainly because, again, even if Aaron Judge was doing this, I think we'd be like, it's probably not sustainable, right? So I think that he is accomplishing what he's accomplishing is incredible too. And you mentioned some of the non-offensive aspects of Heineman's game, right? I mean, we were talking about this on the pregame show, but Heineman good at corralling pitchers, whether it's pitchers he has worked with a lot in the minors or pitchers that have not spent a lot of time with him in the minors, whether it's the starters, whether it's relievers. He is good at holding the runners. I mean, he is good at, I think, not just calling games, but when I think he seems to, at the very least, this is just using the eye test here, but he does seem to have a good sense of knowing when to go out there. And this is, I think, an aspect of just being a veteran catcher who's been around the majors and minors for a really long time. But, he knows when to go out there and give his pitchers a chance to calm down and just take a little bit of a mental reset, right? I mean, we saw it with Gausman today after Gausman had that particularly acrobatic play where Vladdy from the seat of his pants threw Gausman the pitch and then he had to reach back and still tap his right foot on the bag. And then you saw Heineman go out there and give him a breather on the mound. Shortly after that, certainly with Hoffman as well, after he gives up the home run, you see him pointing down and really, directing traffic out there. So I'll give Heineman all the credit in the world. I got to say, again, backup catcher, I think by the end of the season, he'll probably have caught 50 games in that range, right? But still, I mean, if you're playing the way he's playing, it's hard not to shout him out.
And in this game, what he did at the plate were things that you have to give him a lot of credit for, regardless of what you think his long-term prognosis is. He hit a home run over 400 feet, the longest hit he'd ever had in the major league level. His second hit, that was in an 0-2 count, a single. His third hit, above the zone at 101 miles an hour, and he managed to poke it the other way. Some of his hits, they have blooped in and fallen in, and he's gotten the benefit of some luck. But in terms of this individual game, what he did was critical to the Blue Jays' success in terms of the runs that he scored, in terms of the home run and then scoring that run on the Vladdy single. But also the way he did it at the plate was legitimately impressive too.
416-870-0590, 1-888-666-0590, star 590 on your cell. Lots of calls, actually. Let's get to the calls again, Nick. Eric in Alberta joining us here. Eric, what's on your mind? Welcome to Jays Talk.
Hey, Nick and show. I just wanted to shout out Tyler Heineman again, like you guys have. I also wanted to point out that in that fourth inning, when Gausman kind of got in a heated argument with the umpire, Heineman stepped up and got in between the umpire and Kevin Gausman to prevent Gausman from getting ejected. I think that's also goes underrated. He is also the OPS leader on the Jays with a minimum 50 plate appearance at 1066, which is unbelievable for what you're getting from the backup catcher. I just wanted to shout him out for that sort of stuff today.
Absolutely, Eric. Thank you for joining us on Jays Talk. Appreciate the call. Yeah, I mean, Tyler Heineman, leader of men right now, Nick.
I mean,
Yogi
what more can you say? If Gausman had been tossed also from the game, the Blue Jays would have been in real trouble because it was a bullpen game the night before. They kind of needed Gausman to go deep in this game. I'm not sure if Heineman's intervention was the thing that prevented that from happening, but again, a nice little thing to shout out for him. His WRC plus right now, which is a great kind of overall offensive stat, just for era, ballpark, yada, 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 is 204. There's no major league player in MLB history who has a career WRC plus of 204 or better. So if he keeps this up, there will be an argument to be made he is the greatest hitter of all time.
416-870-0590, 1-888-666-0590, star 590 on your cell. Let's continue taking your calls. Let's go to Kitchener. Jeff joining us in Kitchener. Jeff, welcome to Jays Talk. What's on your mind?
How's it going today, guys?
Good, yeah. Always fun when you can talk about another series win, right?
100%. I just wanted to get your guys' opinion on this because I came across an article this week, just kind of scrolling through, and they were mentioning about Atkins and Shapiro in their final contract years. and also mentioning about the fact that Bo Bichette may not be interested in signing an extension. He may want to do the free agent route. Would you guys take a flyer after the Yankees came in for Canada Day and see if maybe picking up the phone and chatting with Preston Mattingly in Philadelphia, possibly for Mick Abel or Andrew Painter for Bo Bichette? Will you guys entertain that?
Hey, Jeff, I appreciate the call. You know what I do love? I love me some fake trades. I will say this, Nick. Fake trades are one of my favorite things to do in any sport. So Bo for one, so 1-for-1 for Abel or Andrew Painter. I will say Painter was supposed to be, from what I recall, he was supposed to be one of like the sexier pitching prospects. And then I think he just ran into a bunch of injuries. I don't know if it was only Tommy John or if it was something else, but I do think he had some like elbow surgery, I want to say, at some point. Of course, we just saw Abel, and Abel, I mean, like 2 starts at that point after walking like a million guys in the minors. He's excellent in the majors. So kudos to Abel. I'll say this. I mean, the Phillies have always been very, very aggressive. I'm not sure the Blue Jays. Okay, I do like the idea because I love the idea of big swings personally. But I do think if you're where the Jays are, and if they're anywhere close to 6 games above 500, I can't imagine around Canada Day, I should say. I can't imagine they're going to be sellers like at all, even for someone like Bo.
Yeah, I have a hard time imagining that as well. I think this front office, they're trying to get their extensions, right? And so they're incentivized to have this team win and do well enough that it would seem odd to fire them and go with a different group at the end of the year. Even beyond that, honestly, unfortunately, putting some cold water on it, you'd be disappointed what you get for rental players at this point. Like MLB teams really, really value a player with term, and trading half a season of Bo Bichette, it's not like you get nothing for him, but I don't think you get those top end young pitchers who are projected to be kind of middle, if not better, top of the rotation type of starters. Teams are really, really reluctant to let go of those players, and rightfully so. And the Blue Jays would love to have some of those guys. Like the Blue Jays do not have a lot in the way of young pitchers that they can rely on. Trey Savage is obviously doing some really impressive things in the minor leagues right now, but these are rare prospects we're talking about. And generally, when those type of prospects move, it's for guys with multiple years of term on their contracts remaining.
I do think Jeff is onto something though, because if the offense stays where it has been, and I mean, it'll probably fluctuate throughout the season, but given where it's at now, you certainly feel a lot better about it now than when we were having conversations like this in, early to mid-April, I would say. But if the offense stays where it is now, Nick, I do wonder when we get to the trade deadline, if the biggest need for this team will not, in fact, be a bat like we thought it would be, but in fact would be starting pitching, right? And I mean, certainly bullpen as well. And I mean, Chad Green's outing today. I know he didn't give up a run, but Chad Green loading the bases does not inspire me with an abundance of confidence, I'll say. And I don't think you're going to be able to inspire anyone else to take, even at a discount, Chad Green. And he's a free agent next year anyway, so I'm sure that's a big part of the equation for him. But starting pitching, relief pitching, probably a much easier add than any sort of impact bat. I mean, because think about it. I mean, like, when was the last time you thought you saw a bat acquired at the deadline be a major contributor on the way to a World Series title? And I mean, if you really expand that, I mean, when was the last time, even in like hockey, for example, the Stanley Cup final going on, what you could see like a big time goal scorer acquired at the deadline, not named Brad Marchand, I guess, and lead your team to big moments in the playoffs, right? I guess Mikko Rantanen was almost there, I suppose, but the Stars are not playing in the Stanley Cup final. It just doesn't happen that often offensively. I feel like it happens, especially in baseball, far more frequently from a pitching perspective.
I think that's fair. I remember when the Dodgers acquired Manny Machado, and I thought, you might as well give him the World Series at this point, and that did not work out that way. You could do something creative with Bichette. Again, I don't expect this to happen, but you could make a case that, Ernie Clement can play shortstop. You could argue that Jimenez would be able to play shortstop as well if you really did have a little bit of an offensive surplus, which, again, let's not get ahead of ourselves just because they're on a hot streak right now. But if you felt like you had that surplus, but the rotation was still concerned and there was a way to upgrade the rotation and bullpen, maybe with guys who had a little bit of term, and then you shift Bo Bichette out the other way. You don't often see that where teams that are trying to contend, try to make the playoffs, trade quality MLB players who are currently on the roster. But you can, in theory, sort of move value from one part of your team to the other. That would be a creative way to approach the deadline. Again, I really don't expect it to happen, but from a theoretical perspective, I can see it.
Yeah, like if the Jays were like 6 games under 500 at the deadline, I think we'd be entertaining Bo being traded a lot more.
Absolutely.
Right? But I think where they are right now, it's probably not going to happen. Let's go back to the phones. Let's go to Brendan in Edmonton joining us here on Jays Talk. Brendan, what's up?
Hey, show, Nick. I just wanted to give a shout out to Kevin Gausman and the really quality outing he gave us today. I know it's 3 earned runs over 6, but still, like, the history with him against Minnesota over the last, since he's been a Blue Jay, at least since 2022, has not been very good. And clearly he was battling a little bit today, but other than, I think, that one inning where they loaded the bases and the hit by pitch and the walk to get the second run in, I thought he looked pretty good in every inning out there. Like that the splitter was really diving down, I thought, a lot today. The fastball velocity after the first inning was pretty consistently 94 and up, which is another good sign. I wonder where this rotation is going to be in the next coming years, because you look at Bassett, his contract is up after this season, Gausman's after next season, and I think Barrios still has another, 3 years left.
And Barrios, he does have an opt-out in there too, so that's always a possibility.
Yeah, like the rotation is going to need some guys to come in. I mean, like, obviously Trey Savage, we're going to see at the end of the year what Alek Manoah looks like. And then, I mean, like, all the guys that keep getting hurt at the minor league level, Tiedemann, Barriera, like, how many guys we've drafted in the first round as a starting pitcher and just all need some kind of elbow surgery. It's insane, but, one of these guys is going to have to come in and try and fill some of these holes that are being created in the rotation.
Hey, appreciate the call, Brendan. Thank you for joining us. I'm with Brendan, Nick, on the idea that you need at some point, right? At some point, you need one of these pitchers you have drafted to pan out, or at least just come up and throw some innings in the majors, right? Like just one of them. And I think we were talking about this off air, but I mean, the Jake Bloss injury, I think, really did throw a wrench in what could have been a solution as we're seeing now, right? Bullpen days, Bowden Francis struggling to a certain extent. So it is a little tough on that end. So I think you do hope that Trey Savage is the real deal. And I mean, just last night, he made another start for the Vancouver Canadians and carved their opponent up like a Thanksgiving turkey. So I think you probably expect at some point, even this year, maybe, I mean, if things continue to go as well as they've gone for him, he'll pitch in low A, high A, might even pitch in double A at some point this year, considering how he's ripping up the minors. But again, he's probably still not super close to coming in. But to Brendan's point, the rotation is something that's going to have to be addressed. Now, that is something I think you can also, to a certain extent, fix with money, essentially. And Bassett's coming off the books. Scherzer, you would assume, is coming off the books. Chad Green, who we talked about, he's coming off the books. That's almost $40 million, $35 to $40 million, if I remember correctly, just with those 3 guys. So you can probably fix that issue a little bit in the short term with money as a Band-Aid, but you do need them to get some of the innings from the minors. Gausman today, though, right? First spot of trouble, I should say, for him came in the bottom of the 4th. I mean, single to Jeffers after a quick out, single to Jeffers, single to Correa, walks Wallner, hits Ty France on an 0-2 count, and then walks Roy Lewis after falling behind 3-0. So he really did struggle to locate the zone. That he only gave up 3 runs, I think, is a testament to him battling, and well done. I mean, it was the most runs you can give up in a quality start, but he got a quality start with just over 100 pitches. I mean, impressive of Gausman to battle against a team that is he has historically struggled against.
It was actually a pretty similar story as we've seen with Gausman and the Twins in the past, right? Like his velocity was there, the fastball looked good, and that's what got him through a lot of the early part of the game. He was getting a lot of ground balls with his fastball, which is not really traditionally his game. But I think he identified early on that they were laying off the splitter. Like, the splitter looked good. The movement was there. It was falling off the table. It was that slower splitter we talked about before the game. But the difference was that the Twins just did not really swing at it. They only swung 14 times on 34 splitters. And so I think he identified early in the game, like, to get these outs in these crucial situations, I really need to lean on my fastball. And generally speaking, that worked. And then you got to that inning that you laid out. And, the 0-2 hit batter, that's brutal. That's going to keep him up at night. That helped extend the inning. Then you have that walk, which, again, is not what you want to see from him. But he didn't really have his best weapon, or at least it wasn't effective in this game. And so when he doesn't have his splitter at its highest capacity, then he is very reliant on the fastball. And the fastball today was, generally speaking, pretty good. And it was good enough to get him through a quality lineup, as you said, get that quality start, proverbially keep his team in the game. Like, he did not leave with the lead. He did not put the Blue Jays in a position where they were way ahead of the Twins, but he kept them in the game and they were able to come back. It's not going to be his favorite start when he looks back on the season. He's not going to have wistful nostalgia about this outing, but he did what's asked of a pitcher, which is to keep your team in the game, give them a chance to win. The Blue Jays won today in large part because of what he was able to do.
I mean, I do think also, not to borrow a turn of phrase from John Schneider, I know we've kind of banned tipping your cap on this show, but I do think you do have to give at least a little bit of credit to the Twins, to your point about them laying off those splitters. And I mean, there were also some pitches that ended up as hits that were pretty good pitches, right? I mean, there was that high fastball to Harrison Bader that he smoked for a double. It was like 100 plus miles an hour off the bat. And he walked into second base. And then there was the home run to Wallner for the Twins' third run. There's the bottom six. He mashed that thing. It was a fastball inside at 96 miles an hour, and Wallner still put a really good swing on it. So I'm kind of with you. I don't have a lot of negative items on Gausman outside of the fourth inning, and he still ended up with a quality start, right? So I don't think it's anything to be super concerned about. Not that our caller Brendan was concerned, just that I think maybe some people might have been. But again, I think actually I give the guy a lot of credit for battling through it. Dave in Orangeville on the text line. We'll take this text and then take a break here, Nick. He says, on the topic of starting pitching, curious how you guys see Manoah factoring into this mix. Haven't heard a lot about him despite seeing him in the dugout with the guys versus Tampa a couple weeks back. Dave, I appreciate the call. I recall, I think Arden had this on Twitter, but I believe the progression plan for Manoah, and this was from John Schneider, is that Manoah is going to be facing live batters as soon as this coming week, I believe. I think it's like Monday or Tuesday, but he is going to be starting the progression towards facing live batters. So, I mean, I have no idea what Manoah is going to look like after really struggling and then having surgery. But, I mean, you can't entirely discount him as a potential solution, because if he's even like 70% of the guy he was when he was like a Cy Young candidate, I mean, that is a potential solution, I would say.
It's just been so long, right? 2022 was the last time we saw that really strong version of Alek Manoah. And after that, 2023 was combination of poor health and poor performance. And then last year we saw 5 starts and they were kind of truncated outings at that. So he really is a mystery box. Now, he's a mystery box with a lot of talent and who has been very successful at the MLB level before. So he can't be dismissed. It's not like you called someone up from AAA who you've never heard of and like, let's give him a chance.
Right.
This is a guy who knows what it takes to succeed at this level and has done so. But it's just hard to speculate on what his stuff looks like. Is his velocity there? There's a lot of concerns before he got injured about his trademark slider had lost a lot of its movement. And that was one of the bigger issues that had made him decline from 2022. How's that going to look? It's really, really difficult to say, but it is a nice thing to have in your back pocket, which is, as you mentioned, someone who's been a Cy Young candidate in the past, legitimately, in 2022, a while ago, but not forever ago. This isn't Max Scherzer where you're catching the very, very end of his career. Like, this is a guy who theoretically, at least physically, is in his prime and has had the success before. To have that guy coming back in your back pocket is a nice luxury, but I think it needs to be conceived of as a luxury, not something you can really count on.
Yeah, I'm not sure you can make your plans 100% based around what Manoah's rehab is going to look like, right? Because, I mean, the truth is you just never really know. I mean, I'm sure a lot of Brewers fans were like, oh man, Brandon Woodruff is on his way back. And then he got like hit in the elbow in a minor league rehab start, and they put a pause on that. Shane Bieber, I'm sure Guardians fans were like, oh man, Bieber's going to come back. And then he had some discomfort in the elbow during rehab start, and his recovery had to be put on pause. So like, you just never really know when guys come back from surgery. Sometimes it's very successful. Sometimes it's less so. So I'm with you. And I think too, even like in the most optimistic of cases, I got to think Manoah is still not coming back until what? Like, well after the deadline. Like maybe before September, I would think. But if you get anything out of Manoah this year, I view that as a positive. But at the earliest I'm conceiving of is, the deadline's at the end of July, so like mid-August, maybe?
Yeah, that sounds like a reasonable deadline. That sounds like a reasonable timeline to me, which kind of goes to what you were saying, where you can't really make plans around it. And the deadline is when you're making your plans, right? Like that's when you're thinking about acquiring players or shipping guys out. And we still don't know exactly where the Jays are going to be competitively at that moment, although their recent stretch makes it more likely they'll be at least hovering around 500. I think, if anything, that would be sort of a pretty negative outcome if they went 4 games under 500 or 5 from here to the deadline. That would be considered a pretty poor run for them. And yeah, Manoah is not someone you can plan around, but there is a chance that he comes back and he looks really good and he provides a huge boost for this team. That can't be dismissed, but it cannot be brought into your broad plans for the team, because it's just unfair to put that expectation on him, to be honest.
416-870-0590, 1-888-660-590, star 590 on your cell. Those are the numbers to call. 590-590, name and location. That's the People's Text Line. We'll go back to the phone lines, back to the text line after the break. You're listening to Blue Jays Talk. That's Nick. I'm Show on the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Buck Martinez here to tell you about the huge Double XL free topping pizza from Pizza Pizza, just $19.99. That's a whopping 18-inch 3-topping thing of beauty for only $19.99. So hurry into Pizza Pizza today and bring a big appetite for a hot and fresh Double XL pizza. I'm loving this big voice. I may just call the game this way.
Go to pizzapizza.ca.
At Crown Rust Control, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Did you know spring's the best time of year to protect your vehicle from rust? For a special spring offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
Knock all your summer projects out of the park with Home Hardware, the official home improvement retailer of the Toronto Blue Jays and your DIY partner in making your dream home a reality. From gardens to garages, back decks to front doors, refreshes and renos, we're here to help you cover all your bases and make every summer project a home run. Visit any of our 1,000+ home hardware and building center locations, where we're proud to be locally owned and genuinely Canadian.
This TSC Showstopper deal is like 2 stylish pillows for your feet. Save 30% on Skechers slip-in sandals on June 12th at tsc.ca. Kick up your summer style with these lightweight sandals, available in 6 fun colors, with heel pillow technology that supports every step. Save 30% on Skechers slip-in sandals. The best offer of the day on June 12th. Shop exciting offers every day at tsc.ca.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate online at carsforkids.ca. That's cars with a K. Pickup is quick and easy. You'll benefit a child and get a maximum tax credit.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today, and your car can be gone tomorrow. Of all the things that Timber Mart can lend a hand to build, community ranks among the most important. And with the Timber Mart Local Leaders Initiative, we strive to recognize those dedicated to making their hometowns a better place to live, work, and play. From now to June 25th, you can vote to select our grand prize winner. They'll receive a $10,000 grant to support their outstanding initiative as Timber Mart's Local Leader of the Year. To vote, visit local-leaders.com. Timber Mart, Canada's building center.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
George Springer has given the Blue Jays the lead once again.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of like a flatliner, you know. I think, you know, going back to the day we told him he was going to start or open, he was kind of like, okay. And he's kind of got that mentality about him, you know. Getting to know him in spring training a little bit, obviously a different animal than the regular season and making your major league debut and things like that. But he's got a very, very calm demeanor about himself. And that's what you really want in a relief pitcher. So it'll take some time, I think, some outings for him to really kind of feel that, you know, feel those nerves and feel that pressure. But he looks like, you know, the same guy every single situation you put him in so far.
That's John Schneider talking about Braden Fisher, who had an inning of relief in the 8th inning. Some really high leverage stuff for Braden Fisher. He had a strikeout. He faced 3 batters, did not give up a hit or a walk. So well done by Braden Fisher. You're listening to Blue Jays Talk here on the Sportsnet Radio Network. Nick Ashbourne, Show Ali here with you. Still taking your calls, 416-870-0590, 1-888-666-0590, star 590 on your cell, 590-590, name and location. We're here for another 10 minutes or so. Before we go back to the phone lines, before we go back to the text line, Nick, let's get to the Bet365 standings update. With Bet365, you can watch thousands of live games, build your own bet. You can even make a bet while the game is still being played. 19 plus, play responsibly, Ontario only. Well, it is still, you know, midday on a Saturday, so still some games going on. And actually, I believe, let me just double check here. Actually, only a handful of finals, actually, including our game. So it looks like the Yankees and Red Sox don't get going for another just under 2 hours. The Rays are still in action right now, and the Orioles are on the West Coast taking on the Athletics, so they don't get going until 10 Eastern. So a bit of a mixed bag when it comes to the standings right now because some teams haven't gotten going. But let's take a look at the standings. If my computer would refresh, there we go. So the Yankees enter play 39-23. The Blue Jays, they improved to 35-29. The Rays are 34-29. They have also been one of the hottest teams in baseball. They are currently leading the Marlins, top of the 5th inning, 6-5. So we'll see if they do hold on there. The Red Sox are 30-35. Like I said, they're playing the Yankees tonight. And the Orioles are 25-37. And they had their 6-game win streak snapped by the A's last night in Sacramento. But I mean, it's interesting, Nick. I mean, we had a conversation just a couple weeks ago that you could conceivably win or you could come in second place in the American League East and still not make the playoffs. And it's funny because in this run the Blue Jays have gone on, they actually have a better record than every other team in the American League Central except for the Tigers, and are currently, at least right now, pending the result of the Rays game, sitting in sole possession of the second place in the American League East. Things turned pretty quickly. And they're at the top of the wild card charts right now, which you would not have expected, again, a couple of weeks ago. And people have different opinions about playoff odds, and it's fair because teams change a lot over time and they go on a big run and things change quickly. But I think it is worth noting that as recently as May 25th, this team had playoff odds of 25.2%, according to Fangraphs. And coming into today's game, it was 53.8%, and it's only will have increased with today's win. They are in a position where it is fair to now expect the Toronto Blue Jays to make the playoffs. There's no guarantee. If you're above 50%, that is not a guarantee you are making the playoffs. But it is, at that point, fair to say, more often than not, a team in this position with this group of players is likely to make the playoffs. And again, like, it felt for a long time this season like they had a shot. They were in the mix. They were one of the teams that could make the playoffs. And now, again, they haven't taken pole position by a huge margin by any means. It's not like they're way ahead of the pack or anything. There are plenty of teams fighting for this. The Blue Jays have not escaped that group, but they have gone from a conceivable playoff team to arguably a probable playoff team, which is pretty wild in a pretty short period of time. Just before we go back to the phones, Nick, real quick, because we heard the clip from Schneider on Braden Fisher. Thoughts on Braden Fisher today? I thought he's really fantastic. This is what he does: is he throws a ton of sliders and curveballs. He did not throw a single fastball in the outing. His hardest pitch was 88.8 miles per hour. And a lot of times when guys do that, it's because they just really don't have a heater to speak of. Whereas he does have a mid-90s fastball, but he just doesn't use that often. He uses it as a pick-and-choose weapon to steal a strike here or to catch guys off guard. But he's got a slider that's special. He's got a curveball that falls off the table. So far in his MLB career, he's got 17 strikeouts in 11.2 innings. Like, he's showing the ability to miss MLB bats already. He only has 2 walks in that time as well.
it's too early to declare like this is a high leverage reliever you can count on. Absolutely not. Like he needs to establish more of a track record, but there's not a lot that he could have done in this time that he hasn't done. He's done, and again, as John Schneider speaking to his demeanor as well, that side of it, it's a pretty interesting package at the moment. And it's hard to say where he'll end up by the end of the season, but the Blue Jays in recent years have really struggled to, whether it's starting pitching or relief pitching, bring people up from the minor leagues and have them contribute at even a passable level. And this year they're starting to do that on the relief side, not so much on the starting side, but they've brought guys up from AAA, Paxton Schultz being another example, and have them, and Mason Fluharty, and have them give them good innings in relief, which is a really important thing to be able to do. We'll see how that carries forward, but that's turning a weakness into a strength, and that's one of the things that has made this a better season for the Toronto Blue Jays.
Let's go to the phones one more time before we get out of here. The last word on the phone line goes to Steve in Alexander, Manitoba. Steve, welcome to Jays Talk. What's on your mind, man?
Thanks for having me, guys. I think I'm a little late to the party because the old Heineman Kirk train has probably left the station, but I just wanted to pile it on a bit. I'm a big Danny Jansen guy, or was a big Danny Jansen guy, and coming into this season, man, without him backing up Kirk, I was very worried. But what a luxury to have Heineman come in and play like he has, and you got Kirk with his framing and everything, and Heineman like holding runners, as you guys just said, and I'm just ecstatic about the fact that we have two very solid catchers, certainly the best 1-2 punch in the game, but two starting catchers at this point. Whether Heineman can hold on, we don't know, but it's looking pretty darn good.
Steve, I appreciate the call. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, I mean, I think that was Steve brings up something too. I mean, about Danny Jansen, because I kind of like Steve was a Jano guy. I was a fan of his, and nice guy, always fun to talk to, always generous with his time for us on the network and here at the Fan. And I got to say, I was bummed when he moved on. Not just moved on, he would go to play for the Rays, right? I mean, that's tough, right? Especially playing for a division rival. But after he left, right, Nick, there was a question as to how many resources should be allocated towards the catching position, just generally speaking, right? Especially if you did believe at the time that Kirk is going to be asked to catch like 110, 115 games. And as we've spoken about before, how many catchers in baseball are being asked to do that with that type of load and then also are having pretty good results offensively? I would say the list is perilously small. So that the Blue Jays managed to identify Heineman as someone they don't have to spend a lot of resources on, but still get good results out of. And to your point from earlier, I'm sure even if you put the truth serum in Ross Atkins, he wouldn't say like, I expected over a 400 batting average and over 1,000 OPS, even in limited sample size by June 7th. I'm sure even he wouldn't say that. But yeah, I think it has helped swallow the pill of having a player like Danny Jansen, who I think was liked by a lot of people, not just myself and not just by Steve, but I think Jano was well liked. And now, I'm not saying you forget about him, but you're able to stomach that loss a little more because Heineman's been great, frankly.
Yeah, I mean, Heineman's been better than you possibly could have expected, as we keep talking about here. The thing with Kirk coming into the season is there was some skepticism about him carrying this massive load. And people felt like, well, if you have Heineman, who's truly unproven at the big league level and maybe more of a AAA guy for most of his career, then Kirk's got to play a lot or this is not going to work. And now, firstly, Heineman's been so good that paradigm has maybe shifted a little bit, but they have played Kirk a lot. Like Kirk has appeared in 49 games already this season. So he's on pace to be in a lot of games, and he started 46 of them at catcher. So again, he's going to blow by his career highs in these things. But I think there's also a level of belief that the team had in him. Like, not only is he an elite catcher who provides so much value when you play him, so as a result, playing him more is only good for your team. I think some of the skepticism was a little bit, it's a little bit unfair. It was a little bit, to be honest, a little bit body type based. So people saw a guy who looked like that and said, is he going to hold up? And I'm not sure that was actually based in any kind of science. It was just sort of what people were throwing out there. And the reason that he hadn't played as many games in the past was often because Danny Jansen was a good player who justified having playing time. It wasn't necessarily that Kirk gets worn down, Kirk can't handle this load. It's like, we've got another dude who should probably play as well because he's really good, especially at some points offensively for Jansen when his power game was really going. So the idea that Kirk couldn't handle this load, I don't know if it was ever based on anything other than the fact that he hadn't done it already. But Kirk is a relatively young guy, and he's showing himself to be strong this season, again, both offensively and defensively. And the Jays are left with this really, really strong tandem. Now, if I'm going to quibble, I say the best catching tandem in the game is Kyle Raleigh and whoever. Like a bag of baseballs and Kyle Raleigh is the best catching tandem in the game. But
that's funny.
That being said, the Jays have to be extremely happy with where they are.
Quickly on the text line, David of the Six, keep stringing series wins together and 500 will be far in the rear view by August. Nice start to the road trip. There was one here from Sean in Cowtown, who clarifies that is Calgary. He says, another big comeback win. Bullpen is absolutely gold right now. Let's enjoy this. And let's see. Jeff and Sarnia, great to see players homegrown making an impact, not having to buy a bat. And then Joey and Bob Cajun. Is it just me, or is the Jays starting to feel like the Leafs with them getting all these comeback wins? Let's not go there. I say this as someone who cheers for the Leafs. Let's not make those comparisons. Not right now.
It's a tough moment to be making those comparisons. That's for sure.
I do think so. I do appreciate all the texts and all the calls. You guys are the best. But thanks for joining us here on Jays Talk and on Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by the local family-owned Crown Rose Control Centers in Elliott Lake and Sault Ste. Marie. Crown is proud to be Canadian-owned and operated since 1986. Protect your vehicle from rust today at your local Crown Rose Control Center or visit Crown.com. Crown, Canada's #1 rust protection. For Nick Ashbourne, Ben Schulman, Chris LaRue, Tom Young, Nick Blackmore, I'm Show Ali. That does it for us. We are out of here. Julia Kreutz back in with me tomorrow to put a bow on the series. Blair and Barker back on Monday. Have a great Saturday night, everyone. We'll talk to you later.
Major League Play-by-Play is now on SiriusXM Radio and online with the SiriusXM app.
Why do I love calling this game?
Calling this game?
Calling this game?
Calling this game. Why do I love calling this game? It's because I get a chance to bring some joy into people's lives.
Anything can happen on a baseball field.
We've got a new game! It's perfectly unscripted theater.
Everybody on their feet!
Because you never know what you're going to see on a given day.
Vladimir Guerrero Jr. just walked it off!
There's just something about baseball on the radio.
Something about the way wood hits leather.
A swing and a drive to deep left center!
The way leather hits dirt.
And he made the play!
The way a deep fly ball sounds like it's about to change history.
High fly ball to center field. It's hit pretty well toward the wall.
Until the cleats hit the grass, hit the crushed brick, and then nothing but sky and a silent crowd.
That ball's high.
Until leather hits leather and 40,000 fans lose their collective minds in a perfect symphony of chaos.
He jumped up on top of the wall, balanced himself, and caught it.
The way nothing triumphs a perfectly honest call.